Hello everyone and welcome after some slight difficulties. Apologies for that, but it should be fixed now. To the WoT7 number 2 Day 1 tournament. I'm being joined today by the one and only Svitman, and I think he's gonna guide you through the bracket that we have prepared for you.
So today's double elimination bracket is the same one as we had before, with the number 5th and 6th from the groups starting already in lower bracket because they were 3rd in each respective group. So we are going to see that match first. It's LTP against Raid. And in the upper bracket, we have the winners of the group stage, that's Fame, playing against Tropical. And then a match 3, that's going to be number 2 from the groups, that's German Potatoes against Invil.
Indeed, and all the matches are going to be best of 5, except the grand finals. Who are your favorites? Who do you prioritize, especially in the match 1, which is the upcoming one?
In the match 1, I saw LTP in one of the other 7v7 tournaments that's organized by the community. And they were 2nd in there, so they have very good chances to actually make it a little bit further than the 6th place. But we are going to see how it's going to go, because they didn't really prove themselves in the group stage, because they were 3rd in their group.
Yeah, definitely something to watch out for here. Definitely some new names here in the bracket. Obviously, teams like Raid, Invil, Fame, they are known, but, you know, new teams have risen to the occurrence, to the challenge. And it's going to be an interesting one. That being said, that's not the only thing. We also have stuff, despite the prizes for the teams, which are pretty good, we have stuff for the viewers, and those are the drops, which are divided this time into 2 campaigns. So today you will be able to get the large consumables, 3 of each, and the spiderweb decal, which is sellable, I believe, for 26,000 credits, should you choose to do so. And tomorrow also the premium day will get enabled. That being said, I think because of the slight break we had before the matches, we're going to have to cut this segment a little short. The only thing left for me to mention is the Gleam giveaway, which also is going on right now. Watch for the link in chat. And I believe we can hand over to the lovely Mojo and to Killzor.
Thank you very much, Kihan, for the introduction, looking as beautiful as always. But who else is looking beautiful? Hello, Mojo. Ready for another WoT7 tournament?
Friend. Everything is working as intended. What can go wrong, man? So we are ready for another 7 versus 7 edition, kind of similar to the Gold League we had before.
I know, similar indeed, and some similar names there as well coming out. Now, Mojo, let's take a look at these team lineups that are coming in. LTP, a fully French team. It's been a while since we've seen one of those, I think. I don't even remember the last time we saw a full French team.
Well, it was a French invasion because this single clan actually gave us 2 teams that tried to participate, but this is apparently the 2nd team of NUT who actually passed. I wonder, I was wondering all the time, is this learn to play or whatever, but LTP is gonna stay, I guess. These guys actually managed to pass the qualifiers, then managed to pass the group stage, and here they are. But they ended up as the last 2 spots in the group stage, so they will be fighting in lower bracket with the Raid, notorious Raid, well known to all of us.
Yeah, but indeed, in the Raid team, Mojo, there's a name missing, as you could say. That actually, yes, there is no.
Yeah, their leader, the tactical leader Smiley, is not here with them, but the rest of the team is here. So we will see how will that actually affect them to perform on this tournament in the future.
Now, the map pick and bans obviously very important. Cliff being banned by LTP, then Mines being removed by Raid gives us Himmelsdorf and Steps, Mojo.
Yeah, I would say 2 slower maps picked to play. So more tactical plays, especially in Steps. I'm wondering to see how will they actually do that. I'm going to remind everyone that on this tournament there are no prize tanks, and there is a gentleman's agreement that EBRs are also not used. So all the tanks that you can see that will be used will be from the tech tree. That actually leaves us with way more options than in the other versions, because people will be prone to use a vast variety of the tanks, I hope. And then we see Ghost Town and Prokhorivka banned. Also, I would say another 2 slower maps.
Yeah, indeed. And also, obviously, compared to the last WoT7 module, this is now 8 minutes. So especially on a map like Steps, that will definitely speed up the gameplay, as you don't have that much time to really rotate, make the long rotations, go from one side of the map to the other. So these teams are going to have to be very quick, especially on those slower maps, as you said, as Steps is one of those.
Well, I think like the first tournament when we did it last time, the WoT7, which Fame won. I'm gonna just put it out there. I think the big flaw was because the timer was 10 minutes. You know, you could see the teams are like taking their sweet time, thinking what to do and so on. Like it has to be a bit snappier, you know, it has to be more interesting to watch. So 8 minutes should do just fine.
8 minutes should do just fine indeed, and Himmelsdorf to kick it off. Lineup-wise, it will be very interesting to see what we're going to get. Maybe some E100s. Eskongs very frequently picked as well here. 277s, E4s.
E3s even.
Yeah, it also depends on what kind of defense you want to go for, right? If you want to go for an aggressive defense, a more hold defense, IS4s are used sometimes as well.
Bad shots also.
Yeah, bad shots also. And lineup-wise, 113s coming out for the side of Raid, 4 of them, a 50B, a Bat, not that defensive.
No, this is actually quite offensive. This is old school kind of pressure that they just go toward the rail and pressure the one cap. So they need to get to the bottom of the rail and control it. And that's why they're just leaving the E3 as an anchor on a window of A5 because they cannot lose control of that cap. On the other hand, LTP is playing with a Badger. That's something you do not expect to see often here.
No, Badger, not a frequent pick coming out, but it does have nice DPM. Well, pretty nice HE as well if you manage to connect those. And you can see Raid here pushing down one to the line with their triple 113, followed by Old Kings and the 50B. And LTP so far just a controlled attack, checking out, feeling out the angles, trying to see where the tanks from Raid are, and preparing for a possible push, because obviously when you see this lineup, you know that it might push you straight in the face without a delay.
And to be honest, both of the teams have really aggressive setup. Mind that each one of them has like one of the TDs, like Badger on the top of the hill. I wonder does he have turbo? And we have E3 on the side of Raid. Now, the fight actually starts down here. The only problem for Raid is that E3 cannot that easily be utilized in a fight. He is more or less completely out.
Yeah, but the E3 does give you the opportunity to sit in the A4, A5 window and spot that zero-line crossing, which a lot of teams do happen to do at some point in time. There's always a tank going there, and you can see Raid does not seem to stop. And that 277 of Remy, he currently has nobody spotting for him. He could be in a world of hurt.
Because they've been sneaky. They use the middle streets to push. This is the correct way to do it. And there is a push by LTP on the 8th line, but they do not know that there is a danger lurking behind them. Remy now realizes what's going on, but he's still not sure how many of them is behind. There is a vast push by LTP. They're taking their chances toward the 2 cap. And Remy is doing the smart thing. He's actually running away toward the 8th line where he's going to take a cooldown.
That is a very fortunate timing, we gotta say, there for Remy.
Yeah,
really.
Seconds, man. Seconds were in question.
Yeah, indeed. A few seconds saving him, and now we can see Glauom with the 50B and the double 113 behind. They don't seem to stop. They know the A3 is isolated as they saw the tanks coming from behind, and they're pushing straight through the cap, up and over, as you may say. And so far, Alex there in this E3. It's a great tank. It's a very strong tank, but it's not that great when you get flying from 3 sides. And now Raid trying to react, trying to get on towards Remy. Remy in the 277 is getting pushed on, but in the meantime, Alex surely will be going down here, and Stable does take a lot of damage from return for this. It's Lemmy there in the bad shot clipping out. He's now on reload. In the meantime, they are going to lose Remy in his 277. So far, it's not that bad for Raid, you got to say.
No, I would say actually they should have done it way more clean. Also, there was a mistake done by Raid. They didn't rush to the 5 line to immediately do the cross shots. They were trying to go for 8 line. They actually never realized how late were they behind the enemy. So I would say, all in all, this is a lucky part for Raid, who actually can now collide, and they can now gather up and then decap finally from the A line. That cap pressure was the biggest problem they had, but now they have the second one. They lost 2 tanks, and they are lower on HP.
They are lower on HP as well, and now they're trying to focus out Joy, Aking here in his bat, making shots on towards Old Kings. Old Kings only has 1 remaining, but the crossfire is coming in from Glauon, from that 113 from the side as well. Aking has 1 more. He finishes his Old King, and now Magnus in his 113 also kind of surrounded here, but so far still so good for Raid. They're up in HP, and the Badger is not in the fight.
All right, the tables actually turned back in the Raid's favor. They managed to double their HP, and Joy is pretty much left alone, covered by only Badger. Badger is full HP, but no one is even challenging him, of course, because he's in a good position, and he's a difficult tank to deal with frontally. Raid has absolutely everything under control after this really chaotic battle, where it looked by far that LTP should have had an upper hand. It just came to individual trades and focus fire at the end, and Raid took the upper hand.
Indeed, and as you said, Remy was poor Badger, and let me just add in some damage here on towards that Badger. He has one more shell available, and it's going to be Raid picking up their first round here in the WoT7 tournament on the defense on Himmelsdorf. And as we said, Mojo, the move on the E3 was a good move, let's be honest. It was a good move. Maybe the 50B shouldn't have taken that much damage, but Remy, when he was running away from 8 line, you said he went into a hold down, which was at the time the correct play, but when they are pushing A line, I think Remy just has to keep going. He has no choice.
Well, he went and followed his team. I don't think it was like his fault whatever happened here. It was just like the individual trades that actually happened on the cap itself. Like, they took too much damage taking out the E3, I think. Like, when you position a tank who is alone in a window, like, they had clippers and other guys, like, they should have just tracked him, received one shell while you're approaching, and that's it.
You only did one shell of damage, so it has to be like Lemmy in that bad shot that really put in the pain on towards the 50B.
Yeah, from the angle.
Yeah, look, Lemmy, 4.4k damage. Yeah, we saw him do a clip on towards on the Badger, but he also did another like 2k damage behind that. So that was mainly on the 50B then as well from LTP. Because Alex only did one shot, so it's not like he got to fire more than he should.
Yeah. So really, really good cover fire. I actually, when I was watching the minimap, I was thinking that Butchot will be even late. But he cut the corner completely opposite side on the left and managed to get a crossfire through that little tiny gap of the street where the E3 was. So that's a good play by Lemmy, understanding what he's supposed to do in that big hurry. I'm actually surprised. Like, I really thought that LTP, because they were a bit ahead of the time, they will actually manage to get a really good crossfire and pressure on the cap and everything, but Raid just organized themselves way better in that commotion.
Yeah, indeed. Well, because once you clear the window on A5, after that, the whole A-line camp, the A6 camp, which you normally can't play because the E3 can reset it, becomes open. But by that time, the game was already basically over. Like, when the camp pressure started, Raid was ahead in HP, they were comfortable, and, you know, having a Badger be full HP behind, you know, it doesn't do that much. Remy is already lucky to survive here, to be honest.
This could have already been a game over. If they caught him and tracked him on that corner, they would be -1 tank for nothing. So Remy running away, that was a good thing, and they had a big info. Here, this is the moment where I was a bit surprised. Like, Katya and Magnus were completely turning on 8 line. I guess they were expecting maybe for LTP to wait for them there, but LTP just went for E3. And you can see them sliding left and right, and there was no cross shots coming here on 50B or anyone else.
This is the moment, by the way. You see Remy, like, at the very last second, you could see that Remy tucks behind the corner. Like, yep. I know you can't really blame him, but if he keeps going there, I think he could be in a way better situation. I mean, it's hard to make the decision at the time, but because then maybe the Badger could come and support him, you know? Like, it could have changed some things.
It's a problem when you have a guy on a hill. If he has no targets and he has to go down from that hill and he's not a fast tank, Badger is not a fast tank, he's pretty much out of the game most of the time. And most of the damage eventually he will do will be in the moments when it's not important. Like on tanks that are crossing to kill someone else.
Yeah, if they actually manage to kill the E3 without losing so much damage, they take the A5 window, they get to cap behind the corner, then the Badger can provide a nasty DPM crossfire from that hold down, which is really hard to cross. But at that point, you rather want an E3 almost, because no team is going to cross one by one.
Well, our teams are getting ready. This is a 1-0 for Raid. This map was picked by LTP. So it's their choice of a map for a start. Raid will be playing in the next role as an attacker. So we already saw that we've seen them even on 15-15 format. Raid really likes to attack in any role, especially on a start and opening games. So this is something that LTP should have expected maybe and prepared for it a bit better. But overall, I think reaction was fine. It just came to shootout. That's it.
Now, lineups-wise, Mojo, LTP on the defense with double 113, 50B, W100, a BAT, and E3, a slower defensive lineup. Raid coming out with the triple 113, the double 50B, an IS7, and a 277. Actually, the lineups are
I7 is an
versa.
interesting part.
The lineups are reversed, Mojo. It's the Frenchies playing with the triple 113.
Alright, yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah, we can see it by the names, guys. Like Katya and the rest of the guys are definitely from Raid. So Raid is playing a really slower attack with those tanks, and LTP is playing like with really, really fast setup on their defense. And they chose and opted for this defense to go toward the hill. So don't get confused by colors and everything. Yeah, this is correct now.
And we can see here an interesting attack, interesting defense here from LTP, but they already got spotted out.
This is something that we've seen in a Gold League as a test before. Like, you can push the guys up there on a hill, but honestly, it never really proven to be a working scenario. So they have a lot of tanks on that zero line. They left I7 and 277 on other side of the map alone. Like, Raid will realize really fast what's going on because of that butt shot, and they even climbed up an E3 to play a hold down. None of these tanks can actually deal with E3 when he's in a hold down there.
The E3 is indeed a very, very mean tank to deal with. And you can see here, Raid is reacting to what they saw. And you can see the E100s are marching back on the hill. Katya and Baron there. Well, I mean, one of them is going back on the hill. Right, he's going back down now, and now the hill push does get spotted out. Lemmy already down towards 844, and here comes LTP. They have 5 tanks on the hill here, and I don't think Raid is currently in position to hold this whatsoever. Lemmy is now trying to bail, still 4 shells available, but LTP realize the overmatch they have here, and Raid is trying to hold from the corner. Old King's getting blocked by Lemmy, is going down the hill, and now those W100s from Raid, what do? Baron is still climbing the hill. This is not going to work from him. Alex now gets permatrack, gets held, gets shot again by Tankista. Glaum going past him down towards the one shot. He goes down, and now LTP on their defense has all the positions and all the angles, and Raid fully unprepared for this.
This shouldn't have worked, but it did. I guess Raid never actually imagined they're gonna try something so ridiculous and adventurous to say. So they caught them with their pants down. Raid is now 2k HP less, but the bigger problem for them is they are in attacking role, so the time is ticking against them. They have the tank less, and they definitely do not have the map control. So this is a really bit kind of, Gordian knot for them. They cannot run away unspotted. They cannot push in the enemy crossfire. LTP knows that, and they're closing in with 277 and I7 from the other side for the finishing touch, I would say.
Yeah, and here comes Raid with the repressure. They realize they have to do something. They have to make something work here. Baron being used as an actual battering ram. Old Kings in the 50B trying to peek out Glaum, making the smart decision. They're going in for the 1v1 with File, and now in return Baron goes down. Takista drops low, but what does it really matter at this point? Magnus has to chase an IS7, and that's not just how that works at all. Joy coming out to finish File, and that leaves Katya and Lemmy in a world of hurt, as now LTP, they seem to have shaken off that first defeat rather easily, and they're coming in back strong here on their defensive side and showing Raid that the hill push is something you should always be worried about.
Amazing, they still have 7 tanks standing. It's like something you don't see often in this format. I mean, Tankista is maybe one shot, but unless he chooses to fall down himself and just jump on Magnus, which he actually did, nothing actually can go wrong.
Well, Mojo, you said they had all their tanks left standing, and they decided to change that for glory purposes. Magnus might get one more here. Nope. Agony. And then IS7 picks it up, and that was an extremely fast win for LTP on their defensive side of Himmelsdorf and Mojo. I'm not sure how Raid really falls for this. I mean, they had the info early, so...
They had info about 3 tanks. They were not sure about the rest. When Butshot went around the castle, he took shots from I7 and 277. So maybe he thought there is less tanks coming up there, or that they will actually not climb but just show themselves and then do something else down the 8 line or whatever, because that's the stuff that you could see maybe in the past. But they were thinking, okay, we have an E3 here, that can hold off lower number of tanks together with 50B and Butshot, but when 5 tanks actually showed up, that was amazing. Also, I would like to see, I can't remember what gear those tanks had. Did they all have turbos and stuff? Because for this kind of tactic, it would actually make a big difference.
Yeah, for this kind of tactic, you would be using turbos on the 113, unless of course it wasn't an initial idea, but something they saw the W100 and they're like, okay, maybe Hill is an option. It's always possible. If it was pre-planned, then turbos would indeed be used on those 113s to make them faster. Probably the 50Bs as well then.
Well, with that setup, they could have played the rail also. The only dodgy thing is like playing rail and having an I7. That means you cannot really control the window. So there is not a single tank that can effectively control it. Then, where the raid in the previous game had the E3.
Yeah, with this lineup, indeed, you have to holding in the normal way is not really possible because
no, it would have to be all out pressure.
Yeah, if raid gets that E3 at B0, at some point that whole window it just like it gets obliterated. You cannot play against it.
Well, really fun and nice game and refreshing, something to see from the tactics already in the start. It's equal score 1-1. So back on a starting point for both of these teams. The next map we will be watching will be Steps, as we said, another slower maps. There was nothing slow about these games, to be honest. These guys really played it out well. And we will see what will they bring out. After the patch, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see the RT. But there you go. There is some replay here coming in. Already after the E3 fell.
Yeah, 770 with ID, you usually just get pushed straight. It's so hard to really pull it off. And this is the point where Raid realize, sometimes you play a game and you sit there and you're like, well, we lost. Like we'll try to repush Hill, but even they know that this repush...
Genuinely, there was really nothing they could have done here except, I don't know, hope for some RNG and some blow-ups or whatever.
They have to hope for LTP to be like greedy, be in bad positions, like unaware or unready for what's going to happen. But outside of that, there's, you have to try, but you also kind of realize that it's just, yeah, go next. I mean, kudos to LTP though. They did well here. Tankista's drop was, a 7 out of 10 on form, maybe an 8 on style.
I would give 8 because he actually connected the shell while falling. That always matters.
True. Damage is very, very important.
If he actually landed on the tank itself, that would be a pure 10.
That would be very hot tank on tank action. Barrels scraping together. I love it. Sometimes on a good Saturday evening, me and Kihan, we play World of Tanks and we also just put our barrels together, Mojo.
Why does it sound so wrong when you say it like that?
I don't know, Mojo. Maybe it's just your mind, right?
It must be my dirty imagination.
Yeah,
anyways, we are back to the golden and purple 60s, 70s kind of decor here. We are going on Steps. We saw the map, which are banned. Cliff and Mines. We saw Himmelsdorf played, and we are going for the Steps. If it comes to, again, 1-1, which is a highly possible result of Steps, unless we see some big surprise, the tiebreaker will be Muro 1K.
Muro, not the easiest map in 770 to play. Even less so, I think, with 8 minutes. It is hard clearing one light from a bush, let alone with little time if you choose to go for that option. But yeah, so far so good for both these teams, actually. It's very important for LTP to come back strong after such a first round, and they did that. Now, obviously, since this is best of 5, the next team to win a round will put themselves on match point as well. That adds a lot of pressure on both those teams, but more on the one that's down and get a match point.
Well, it's gonna be interesting to see how far Frenchies can go. To be honest, I think this is the first more serious tournament for them. Also, it's 7-on-7 format. This is not something you can usually play anymore. So even skirmishes are 10-on-10, right?
I'll just say at least they don't have reaction in the team, so they have a chance of getting further, because it's already hard enough carrying his ass in 15v15, let alone in 7v7, where player skill matters even more.
Poor reaction, man. Every stream. Well, at least he gets a mention,
Could be worse. I could be going ham on Kihan, but that's just too easy.
Well, they say every advertise is a good advertise, no matter how bad it is. Anyways, back to the match. We are waiting for our teams to get ready on the Steps. Also, it's gonna be interesting for us to see how will Raid be impacted by lack of Smiley. Although I can't say they really done well on 7-on-7 last time also.
No, and never generally. Like the smaller formats don't seem to work that well for them. I mean, they make it, but that's
they make it to this final stage, but that's about that. It takes like heaps and bounds more to just cross first rounds. Which is really, really hard. As example, like we can remember the last tournament in the finals, Fame played against Invil. They were losing 3-0. Invil had a match point and they still lost. Like that's experience that Fame had. Like, what will these guys show if the result starts breaking away? You never know. But this is just best of 5, which means like first to come to 3 games, they win. So for any of these teams to actually win a match at the moment, they need both games of steps, or we will see tiebreaker 100%. And there we go, the lineups for Raid, triple Bachat and STB, double IS7, that's interesting, and Super Conk. A very much slower setup by LTP on the other hand.
Yeah, LTP with the triple S-Conk, the IS7, the double bat, and the CS. Now, you can hold...
They're defending.
Yeah, you can on the defense that you can hold with an IS7, for example, an A4, but they're not going for that. And the double IS7 from Raid, it's not the worst, because if you put the double IS7 on the 2-cap, if you put the double IS7 on the cap, it's not that bad either. But LTP not defending over the rail, kind of one-dimensional tactic, I'm going to be honest, because if Raid goes towards the north cap, they have it for free. There's nothing to spot base number 1. And Raid is so far just splitting, taking a little bit of control here and there. The STB crossing the K line, he will be fine, most likely.
Well, technically there is no light tank in a Raid team, you know, so there is not really a possibility of them to just easily cap the 1 cap, you know. There is a chance someone will spot it, or the blind fire will catch any of these tanks because they're just big enough.
Yeah,
so I think they can rely on abandoning it.
I mean, you can still put a bat on the cap though, I guess, but LTP here just chilling. They're just waiting and seeing what is going to happen. I have a little bit of a trap there with Aking and such, and pushing 0 line would be really bad for them. I don't think they're going to go for it. It looked like they were going for it for a second until Baron got spotted, but smartly backing off now. I will say though, Raid's map control merger, it's going to be massive very, very soon.
Yeah, but Raid has really good dispersion, but also, to be honest, what they're doing is risky. It just revolves around guys from LTP not realizing that STB is alone, because if they do, they can effectively take him out for free. Yeah, there you go.
They're going for Baron. They're in the STB. Baron pushed up a little bit too far, but not enough cover. Tankista, Aurel putting in shot after shot. Even on the move here, Baron down towards 479. Baron is going to do one more, but Tankista is going to pick him up, and the trade for this has been very, very limited. You're correct, Mojo. The STB kind of isolated there. This is not that good of a trade for Raid.
I would say they could have even went with better trade, but Bachat went too far, you know.
Yeah,
while they were behind the hill here, they could have taken it for free and just trade with STB alone without anyone else seeing them. But he went like between the little hills behind, and that's when he took shells from Bachat from Raid. So this is a tank minus for Raid. This is not a good thing. Again, we have split colors and the names, so it's all vice versa, guys. Raid is on the right side when you watch it like this, and LTP on the left of the screen. So the HP is like almost 2,500 to 3,000 difference. Oh, there is some random damage now coming in.
Yeah, that's
on
Agony
I7.
There. Yeah, Agony there, taking a little bit. That was from the bat shot, I would guess, from A2, and the I7 from A4.
Well, now we come to the second scenario, which you were talking about, cap pressure number 1. I7 from Raid is already on A5 position. That's a really good hold down. Covered from A3, upper Bachat, like we can see that. And they have 1 Bachat on the cap. Now, the best scenario for LTPs here is to manage to connect Lemmy with blind shots.
I think they're going for the full repush mode.
Yeah, it does look like that. And again, Raid is really split, man. They have too many forces on the lower side of the map, I think.
We'll have to see how this works out for the side of Raid. There's a lot of blind shots coming out from these S-Kongs on towards A3, and here comes Tankista together with Agony coming out in the I7 and Aking in the CS as well. Filer in the I7 is going to be hard to deal with, but Lemmy was on the cap. He was not covering, so File here is getting pushed kind of for free yet again. I mean, he's starting to get clipped out. Lemmy is still getting into position. The Batshot on A2 was getting suppressed by the blind fire, and now this I7 has a lot of HP, but it died. It's just the same. Tankista now taking some shots from Lemmy, has 1 remaining. Lemmy is on reload, and yet again, coming out, LTP picking off another tank, and Lemmy, he was on the run, he was on the move, goes down towards 88, will barely survive. But again, this is great for LTP, and now Kacha seems to be the next target.
Yeah, there is a problem now because he will be in a reload now. All the Bachats from Raid have to cover him. I mean, Magnus actually has to cover him because as we saw, Lemmy had to run away on one shot, and he even survived that miraculously. But there is a big trade of Aking coming down and playing a bit careless there, just selling himself short and free.
Lemmy there with a peek. Lexa trying to readjust, but not getting it. And yeah, Aking was there pushing down the B lane for some reason. He got clipped out fully by Old Kings. They could have left the IS-7 and probably retreated with the CS if they wanted to.
Yeah, I think they kind of got overjoyed with the success they had so far, so he kept pushing like a light cavalry. It didn't work out well. Anyways, LTP is still defending, so let us remember that. And Raid still needs to attack, but LTP kind of feels the need to pressure them constantly. I'm not sure this is the right call, man.
I don't think this is the right call at all, as Lemmy and even Old Kings from A2 are off of reload. I mean, there was maybe an opportunity there when Old King was reloading, but now you can see him just put shot and shot again into Unstable. Lex already went down, and Unstable follows him very soon to the grave, and Raid says thank you for the gift very much. It's like Christmas, but early.
That was a throw, man. If I ever saw one, that was a throw. That had such a nice advantage, man. Taking STB for free, I would say a great part of the game. Taken again too much damage, like on Himmel, but you can live with that. Counter push up. Making Raid aboard the cap, taking their I7 again with a really good trade, doing a really good damage on Lemmy, and all they had to do then is retract. I guess they were scared that Batshot will clip on their Super Kongs who are too close to this corner here. But still, pushing around the corner made it even worse.
I think the S-Kongs didn't even need to go at all towards the C4 position. Like, they killed the I7.
No, I'm just trying to reason why would they do it, man. And I can't make any sense or logic of it. But never mind, the consequences are here and they're dire, because this will definitely, I think, be Raid's victory. They do have still chance to win because they have Joy on such a high HP, but the guy who is supposed to cover his flank, Aurel, he's just on one shot, like a bit more than one shot. And now Raid can just put Lemmy, who is on one shot, on the cap. They can cover him with another tank. They can keep a proxy that it would be Katya. They can still have a big flanking force in Magnus, who has 1000 HP. So how will LTP respond with that? Like, this has to be some kind of godly play, man, to dig yourself out of this. Although the HP is not that far away, the number of guns is.
Well, HP is not far away, but now Joy is forced to go and reset it. He's got an I7 on his side. He takes one from that already. He will get a reset there on towards Alex. But now Katja and Magnus decide that it's time to push forward. If he can get the shot on the bad shot here, that would be crucial. And he does actually get it, and now Alex down towards the one shot as well, and that leaves just RL here, and there's no time to cap right now unless Magnus gets into that one. Katja might get RL here though when he's running away. It's closer than really expected in the end game scenario here. RL, does he have to get another reset? That is the question. Magnus joins now. There's no time to cap anymore. There's no time to cap. RL just has to.
They are late. They are actually late. They didn't know it. They were hoping for the best, but they are actually late for 5 seconds. And the only guy who can actually catch him is the IS-7, and LTP's defense will work by fluke of chance, I would say even. Well, some skill, because actually that Super Kong did manage to decap everything needed. And there we go. A victory that they deserved in the start, then threw it away, and then they regained it miraculously at the end. Nice place.
At the end there, the resets coming in, and Magnus trying to rush to the cap instead of rushing after RL there. And I didn't expect it to end this way, but LTP, yeah, they got the resets that were needed. I think it was the S-Kong that hit the bat there with his final reset behind the S-Kong, actually.
He must have tracked him only because he didn't kill him. He was on one shot.
I mean, track resets as well, right?
Yeah.
Good damage there. Was that Old Kings with 5.7k damage, Mojo?
I didn't see. I was watching for the resets. Actually, 63% on Joy. We can see in a second. Aurel actually is the guy who took the most damage in the start of the game. If you remember, he ended up on 500 damage, 5.75. Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot there coming out from Old Kings Baron not having such a great game in his STB there. He was isolated and LTP picked him off quite nicely, so to say. And then I'm a little lucky there. I mean, you make your own luck to you know, the timer there, 8 minutes, Mojo. You know, Raid. Yeah, I think if Baron chased RL, he might have been able to cut them off from running away, actually. To be close.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know how it goes. You would never know, because I think entire team would actually have to chase them. Like, kudos to Wolkins for doing all that damage from that upper position. That means he penned a lot of tanks and probably burned some of them, you know, to have that kind of damage. But still, LTP, entire this game, LTP was a team who had an advantage. They were throwing away the advantage continuously in some moments. They were making good moves in most of the game, until the end, where it really looked like they threw everything away with that push with super conks around the corner, which was like a massive mistake, and a lot of impatience on their side. Now we need to see how will they actually deal with their attacking side. Now the raid will be defending. This is what I said, like there is a high chance this will be again a draw, and we will probably watch a tiebreaker. This map is not easy to crack. It never was, like on 7-on-7, and I don't think it's any easier now, especially since you can't use any reward tanks, of course. Also, as Ducky said, like RT was barely usable before. Like Steps was one of the rare maps you could see it used, and barely any team ever made it.
I mean, it's usable in 768, but in 770, usually teams will just straight push you if you pick an ID.
Exactly. So it's really, really high risk, and I don't think anyone will try to dig out anyone with RT, especially now after the patch. So we need to see how.
And it would be funny to
LTP...
see an AP261 though. Would be fun.
Well, I would like to see it, but I don't think it would end up gloriously.
Imagine an AP261 against those triple S-Kongs though. Might be funny if he connects a few shots.
Imagine those stacking shots also. Doing
bounces,
nothing.
ricochets.
Yes. So we'll see now once they switch sides, like what kind of tanks are they actually opting for. Like, will it be faster setup or whatever? As we saw in the last game, like I7s are mainly used when you want to pressure the cap, but you don't need to do that. That's just an option, because it has such a sturdy turret. It's usually used on an opposite cap than the one that's being pressured in this game. And we need to see now just like what these guys want to do.
Yeah, it is indeed very hard. And now imagine if LTP didn't decide to drive forward with their S-Kongs and just held, like this move here. Imagine if they didn't do this. I mean, there was only 2 minutes and 40 seconds left at that point already.
I mean, if they didn't do anything and they waited for reaction from Raid, like it would be a big fight, but Raid would be the one to have to make all the moves, and they already had tanks that were not on high HP. It really made no sense. Well, it made sense in their heads, so I guess that counts.
I think that's also the only place that it really made sense. I think they were so afraid of Old Kings there, but Old Kings is only one bat. You know, it's not that much he can do over a limited amount of time. He's not going to hit 5 out of 5 all the time either. And yeah, I mean, they're missing like 4 seconds here.
I mean, even if everyone chased him, if all the budgets left the cap, it's still questionable would they catch him. Because he's not one shot for a budget. That means like they have to actually do 2 shots on him.
Yeah, it would be a duel, and then maybe you have a chance of winning it. Even then, it would indeed be hard for the side of Ray to win in this endgame scenario that we're stuck in. And that also means that LTP is on match point, and obviously since this is the lower bracket, there are no second chances. You lose, you're out. That's it. Tournament over. It was fun. Try again next time.
Yeah, as we said before, like there were qualifiers first, where we got some teams, like 3 from each qualifier, so 6 in total. Then we had the group stage, where another group of teams were waiting. And after the group stage, we ended up with 6 teams that we were watching on this tournament. The 5th and 6th team, the LTP and Raid, are immediately playing the lower bracket. That means who loses this match is out. And then we will be watching the guys on top 4 places from the groups, and whoever loses those matches, they will be dropping down on the lower bracket.
Kranwagen though, my girl.
Kranwagen on the Raid side, in their defense. Well, that's very viable. That's actually mobile tank that can be used on various spots here, and especially on the lower line as they position him like C8. I remember, like when we were in Gold League, you remember Barry was doing his guide video how to play Kranwagen on Steps with 8,000 damage. It's okay, it took us like 3 days to make him work it.
Hardest ever, but LTP, they don't care, Mojo. Look at them. They are just deciding that, you know, it's all
People
fun.
say that French have only the reverse gear, but these guys are like all in first one forward, man.
It does look
Look
like
at that. They're crossing the rail. They don't care about anything.
They don't care about anything at all. And now the bat shot from Raid, I think, is making a mistake. He should be pushing the I7 in the middle already. Tankista there is trying to hide in stable. Aking and his friend Lexa here are just pushing down on towards File. There is a bat shot on A2, but that's where the I7 is there. The I7 provides crossfire on towards that position. Now the move is coming out in return from Raid. You can see the D-line push. The Kran, the Yeskong now making their way across. And still, Old Kings has not been spotted. But now they'll be aware because he just fired on towards the bat shot of, I think, Tankistador, and now Old Kings down towards 2 shots left in his clip. In the meantime, File's getting pushed. He's going to get picked up rather fast. The I7, in the meantime, is pushing forward as well. It's Agony there, trying to get around the corner, trying to survive as long as he can. Tankista actually winning the duel. File here missing the shot, and he will survive a little longer. Agony goes down. In the meantime, Magnus is now fancying a little bit of RL Warrior, who is smartly bailing as far away as humanly possible. And LTP here, coming out. Tank up. And HP advantage.
That was a good play, man. That I7 on the mid left as an anchor and as a bait for Raid, I guess. Like, they took the more important parts. The rail, they took out the Old Kings, which was the most important position that Raid had. So all this is now in the hands of LTP, but they're not stopping. Look at this, Lexa unstable and Aking. They're going for Katya now because they saw he is completely alone, while the rest of the LTP force is just trying to buy time, and it's fighting all over the place, man.
Well, we can see here that...
Baron died in Kranwagen also.
Baron also went down in the Kranwagen. Did not notice where that was, but here the overmatch Mojo you were talking about, it's Katja down and out, and now Alex and his Eskunk is also getting crossfired from multiple sides. Jordan needs to be careful with his straight. That's Magnus putting in the shots from the far back, but again, LTP here, Mojo, they just went for it, and they are making it work. I mean, Raid is in dire straits here. Alex down towards the one shot. Lemmy is trying to do what he can, but how do you win from this scenario?
I'm just gonna name them Lemming Train Prime. There is no winning from this, man. Like, I mean, yeah, there is. We've seen in the last game. They still have a lot of HP, but the biggest problem now for Raid is because they're all over the place. They're so much lower on HP also. I would say, like, the Bachat is the crucial tank they have because he's the only one who can connect them a bit. But they are really all over the place. Alexandros is on one shot, and he will be picked up immediately when the fight starts. And there you go, Lexa and Stable. They are just going in, man. 0 Fs given.
And Alex is going to be going down.
You can see the cute position of Kranwagen in the middle of the field, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Baron really took the path that people rarely take, you know?
That is unbelievable, actually, how well this worked. Like, they just pushed a beeline. And, yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I think the bot from Raid made a mistake there as well. It's almost pointless to flank around the tower. You should go kill the I7 as fast as possible. Like,
I don't know, man. This was such a, I would say, more or less blind play. There was so many things that could have gone wrong. It took a lot of bravery, and they never stopped. And Raid did everything wrong. Like, all the stars just looked upon the team of LTP, and this just freaking worked. Amazing.
I have no clue, Mojo, how it worked this well, because it shouldn't work this well. Because when you draw out a defense like this, one of your first concerns is Magnus might try to get reset here, but it's not going to really matter as LTP are going to knock Raid out of the tournament with a 3-1 scoreline. But when you draw up a defense like this, one of your first concerns should be a straight A B-line push. No, it's one of the few options they have. Like, it's an east side play or a western play.
I just have a feeling by watching Raid here, they're simply not that used to this format. Like, you can see by some of the reactions they had in many of the games, the only game they won was when they were actually in attack. I mean, they were defending Himmelsdorf, but they were attacking, if you remember. So they were in the face of an enemy, so that means, like, you have an eyes on your enemy and you are relying on trades. All the other games where they played slower, they lost.
Yeah, that IS-7 from File, I know it's an IS-7 and all, but he has 2 shots when they're pushing him, minimum. He has, like, 1 shot when they go over the rails, the second one when they're pushing him, and a third one close range. He should be doing more than that in the I-7. Like, I get the one on range is not the easiest, but...
Yeah, with I7 it's not easy, especially if you're not set up for shooting. but like HP or whatever. But still, when it comes to the point blank fight, he should have done at least 2. But I don't think that would change a thing here. Like, he was eaten alive. They prepared the crossfire on Old King's position to counter it, and I would say Old Kings even fell a bit too late for my taste. Like, if you remember, Tankista was on 1 shot when Old Kings died. Like, he was on 300 HP. So he was helped. I think STB was helping with that. And their push was just like great because no one else can shoot there except Old Kings. They separated them well. And obviously, Raid didn't respond well. They didn't know what to do. They took out the i7 on the mid, but that was just an i7. And i7, you could really spell that i7 that LTP left on mid, buying time for the team to do the rest, you know? Because when he died, the Raid was still in the middle, and
he drove past the middle, tried to survive as long as possible, and he did manage to do that. He survived longer than you would expect from an i7 that's getting pushed by 3 tanks.
This was just great, man. It's a great material for watching, and we can see Agonian i7 in the middle. That's just like sacrificial position. They left pretty much no one to really cover him. Only one Bachat in the back who can shoot on Olkin's position, and he can shoot down the middle. Like, we can literally see that.
I don't think File was fully...
These guys left to buy time. And everyone else is positioned to shoot this.
And Old Kings here is shooting at Tankista now?
Yeah. But he was taking damage from 2 tanks, for sure. Even the last shell, like, when he died, it was done by 2 tanks in the same time. Because you see he has 600. There you go, 200, and then Tankista finishes.
I thought the Old Kings had one more, but he was reloading, so Tankista... I mean, he still won the duel, though. And then File gets focused out, but now Magnus in this bat is trying to chase. He doesn't really find anything there.
Yeah, really good reaction by this Bachat, running away immediately, so he doesn't take out while he is in reload. And this is the moment, look at this.
Yeah, Kacha, it's not a good position to be in. Oh yeah, Baron there. Oh.
Look at the Kramage. Boop,
yeah.
Gone.
But Kacha here is also not in like the ideal position though, to be honest. Like, it's
well, no one is. Like, if you see, they're all over the place, man. I mean, it's a big lesson. But as I said, like, 7-on-7 format is not something you can like that easily play. You need a lot of personal experience, cohesion with your team, or you need to play something like this colorful tactics, like these guys from LTP are showing us, which don't rely on too much thinking of angles and position and insane tactics, you know? Like, this is more like a straightforward 1-2-1-2.
Well, Mojo, that was our first match, down and out. Raid coming in and actually picking up the win there, which is probably a thing not many people were expecting. I really wasn't expecting it either. Yeah, I don't know. It's LTP. I mean, they deserved to win there at the end. They overall they were very aggressive and they did very well on their rounds. But the first match, down and out. I would like to hear from my beautiful counterparts on the analyst desk, Kihan and Svilman.
Well, hello there from the analyst desk. Obviously that compliment goes right back to your Ducky. Not only your gameplay is beautiful. But yeah, there we go. We just witnessed a game, and I think it was a strange one, to be honest. Just looking at the team names, Raid against LTP, I think people would expect a different outcome, but there we are.
Yeah, definitely. Raid is one of the established clan names where they were able to win one of the previous Clan Rivals tournament and pretty convincingly against Fame in the finals. But I think LTP is one of the teams that we just not really see on the clan scene because they are part of the NUT at the moment. But as a team, like in the tournaments that are not like broadcasted on the main channel here on World of Tanks, they were doing pretty well, and I believe them, and they managed to win by some pretty unconventional strategies, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as we have the replays coming on stream, we're gonna be able to outline that a little further. But as a general thing, you could say it reminds me a lot of what the Polish teams were doing like 2-3 tournaments ago. It's just this, like, we get information about 2-3 enemy tanks, and then bam, we immediately decide about a tactic. We don't second guess, we just execute. No one's left behind. everyone goes. And in this match, it worked beautifully. And I think the captains and all the other teams are probably sitting here like, ooh, we need to probably prepare something different that we had drawn up if we go against those guys. That being said, we do have the tournament bracket here, and you can see this, what we just saw was match number 1, LTP taking the 3-1 victory over Raid. This means they are going on to match 4, where they are going to meet the lower seed from the group stage in between the losers of the matches Fame Tropical and German Potatoes Invil. Yeah, obviously the higher seed from the group stage will hop over to a match 5. But yeah, as the replays are being prepared, what do you think struck out most here? Was it LTP just doing those aggressive plays, or was it just Raid unable to deal with what was being thrown at them?
I think the major thing that both of the teams are facing is that the time limit of the battles were changed from 10 minutes to 8, which makes the game faster and basically removes one extra rotation. So teams need to like gather the information, and if you get 3 tanks, and the defender has to be ready for everything. So, well, if you have 3 tanks on one side, there has to be the other 3 on the other side. So we have to do some reactions, and we see the exact thing on the first game on the Himos. You see Raid pushing the 1-2 and just going for it, and Remy having basically good tier timing on the leaving of the spot. But then you have the Badger that's out of the fight, Remy that didn't really run far enough, so Raid was able to pick up the tanks without major problems in the end. And the same thing happens in the game 2, where LTP was just, hey, there are like 3 tanks on the hill, but there needs to be someone on the downside, because they would usually have double E3 if they want to play the strategy of the Cap 2. So we can just push hill, and even if they are pushing only with 5 tanks, Raid has like 4 tanks up, so it's still overmatch for LTP, and they can still win the fight. And as Daki said, now Raid just wants to try something, because that's the only thing they can do. They cannot like push down, because the positions of the LTP are just so strong, and because they still have the 2 tanks down.
That definitely was like, when do you ever see that in this kind of format, that the defender does overpush the zero line and take the hill? It's just so difficult to pull it off, but when it works, obviously you see this here, then you start having the higher ground onto the attacker, and the attacker, yeah, is just not going to be able to come back from that disadvantage. And obviously the double 50B jumping down here, so far my favorite scene of the tournament. That being said, we're going to match number 3 now, and that one was a bit of a weird one. It almost felt like, you know, both teams were very, very nice to each other, like, la, come on here, take the win, and then the other team is like, ah, no, I don't want to have it here either. You get it back here.
Yeah, basically LTB was just like, well, I'll take the advantage by the STB, and then it was like, oh, let me just give the advantage back, because I'll just sacrifice 2 Super Kongs for nothing. And then in the end, we are just seeing the bad shit running away after the successful reset by Joy, which was basically last second, because there is like 4 extra seconds that Team Raid needed to cap.
Yeah, Raid, I think they should have sent all their bad shots out, because if you do the math right there, you are able to calculate out that you won't be able to cap in time. Now, this here being match number 4, the final one, and as Daki already said, Pfeiltastenkorn here, he needs to connect at least 2 shots with the IS-7 here. Like, he is hold down, he's stationary, and let's be real, the hull of the 113 is not the strongest, even if you're an IS-7 shooting there. Then also, Old Kings, he's in big trouble here, because he does start clipping out on the Batchat, that is in B1. However, there are so many angles from which he can get shot that he does end up not even connecting all of his shots on the Batchat, then dying, and this puts Tangistador in a position where he can just reload for free and keep happily on with his life. At the same time, the 113s, they are finishing off with the IS-7, and now basically it's LTP who have a concave, and Raid has the problem that they cannot really push anywhere because their Super Kongs are so slow.
Yeah, they basically got stuck like in the game on the Himmelsdorf, like where the LTP pushed hill. They just caught them off guard with the super aggressive play, and they just didn't have the tanks that were fast enough or positioned well enough to actually receive the push core properly. But one thing I want to point out about LTP, that even their super conks and even the 113s, all of them are running configs, because 113s are very known for catching on fire from the front, and superconks are known for getting ammo wrecked from the front, so they are mitigating that. Yeah. Usually teams running turbos, but LTP just wanted to secure I want to have the tank alive, so they are running the configs.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when consumables basically wouldn't recharge, and I was running small and big medkit on the 113 because the ammo rack getting knocked out was just so annoying. Also, I saw some questions in the chat, why are 113s being used? Basically, it's that package of hull down power with acceptable turret armor, DPM, penetration, and also the speed, the mobility that you can just use to such great effect in this 7v7.
Yeah. And compared to something like 277 or 5A, 5A doesn't have enough of HP, because with the HP boost, it actually takes one extra shot to kill 113. And 277, even if it has more speed, it doesn't have the DPM on 113. So that's why you are using this exact fast heavy out of the three, with 260 being a reward tank, so it's not allowed in this tournament.
Now, I think we've covered quite enough of the match in between Raid and LTP. Unfortunately for Raid, we're going to have to say goodbye to them right here, right now. That's just the brutal way of the lower bracket. You lose once, you're out. And now we're going to the sunny side of the bracket, I would say, to the upper part. And the next match we're going to watch is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be Fame, I think the reigning champions here right now. And they're going to be taking on a fairly new team with a spicy nickname in it. It's going to be Tropical Clown School, and they do have the former FC of the Raid 15v15 team, Smiley, with them. So, yeah, that's going to be quite some interesting stuff coming into this game.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your prediction here? What are we going to see?
I think that it might be a close one, just because of the nature of the 8-minute battles. There can be a lot of randomness in the tactics, where just one team just has to push really fast, so they might catch the defender off guard, and vice versa, where the defense is strong because of the fast time limit. But if you look at the results from the group stage, I believe that Tropical Clown School was actually able to take 2 points from Fame, so it was 3-2 for Fame in the end. So we actually might see Tropical winning if the performances are just a little bit better than they had in the group stage.
Yeah, it all remains to be seen, but yeah, that's definitely one of the matches I am looking forward to. And also with this double elimination bracket, we obviously have the chance for a lot more cracker matches coming on later today. I believe that is quite enough theory crafting from our side for the time, though. Let's head over to the 5k plus DPG 279 gamer, the Killzor, and his fellow compadre, Mojo.
I am very good with buttons, Mojo. You know, there's this mute button, and I'm very good at pressing it, basically. That's amazing. Anyways, Key, I was saying thank you very much for boosting my ego. I really need that. Yeah, true, Kihan, true. Hit me up when you hit 4K. Anyways, next match, Mojo. These Tropical guys, they're not really unknown. They play a lot of tournaments, weekly tournaments, 7v7.
Well, we've seen them in last 7 versus 7. They were just named Tropical Cyclone instead of Tropical Clown School.
It's a completely different team.
Completely different story, right? Well, anyways, from all the difference, the screen suddenly went black. The guys were mainly the core of their team is very similar, so they made their first appearance back there. And of course, the Fame team we all know, like from various iterations, pretty much comes from the old Oops from the Gold League, leading the Fame teams in 7 versus 7, all up to the last 15 versus 15 that was led by you.
Yeah, they're indeed missing their.
And you won. So there was not a break in tradition.
They're indeed missing their champion FC, so to say, Mojo. I think Insane could maybe do as well. Maybe we'll have to see about it though. And then Clown School here with their team.
I love the logo, by the way. Nice work.
It's an interesting lineup though that they have. You know, with Smiley and Piotr.
Well, Call Me Piotr actually was submitted as example in the last 7-on-7 in Inville team, but he never played, if you remember. He never played a single game.
I'm pretty sure he was coaching.
Yeah, so I don't know what will his role be now in this Clown School team. We will see when everything happens. I also saw as example when the group stage was on, Fame played with Luna on a tank, which is not something you often see. But there you go. It doesn't matter now. The match is already starting. The first map we will see, guys, is Mines. And Fame will be in attacking role. They are taking a lot of 1-1-3s. One Super Conk and CS63. People often use this CS to spot, as example, lower side of the water to try to snipe someone down. Like maybe a light crossing, which is something that is used by Tropical Cyclone. And again, we have a swapped roles, by the way.
We have indeed the swap roles. But here already, White Rock and Nico are going in their double CS on the hill. Shot is there. Now. You can see the 113s from Fame. They don't look to be stopping. They seem to be going. They seem to be Humpty Dumpty driving up on the hill as Elian is the first one coming around the corner. The Eskong's now coming in from the side of Tropical. Nico is going to be forced to drop in his CS there. He gets pushed on now by Elian. Whiterock is kind of soloed out as well. Very now forced to move in the I7 as well. Panu in the meantime flanking Feli and the Eskong. It was going to take a while before he goes down. And just HP wise here, Fame is doing well. They already picked up Nico and now they cross-line the Eskongs that are coming back in. Profus and Smiley pushing on the hill. But you can see that a fourth time speaking out. Profus is feeling the pain as Rechek picks him up, and now Itox and Smiley driving forward, trying to pick up Elian there, but now the Fame repush happening once more into the backs of these Eskongs. Smiley and Itox, they are trying, but those 113s from Fame, that's 4 of them actually, 5 of them decided not to stop Mojo, and they decided today we're going on the hill.
Well, Clown School were doing some kind of funky moves, man. It looked like they were surprised all the time what Fame was doing, and Fame was just marching on and doing damage. Smiley is the last guy remaining on the hill on his 100 HP. There we go, Duck of Death picks him up. Shokish takes down White Rock, and that leaves Vervi completely alone, surrounding and pretty much gangbanged by the rest of the Fame team. They still have no dead person, like even Kaizu is alive on his 100 HP.
Yeah, and that is the first game here for Fame in a very quick fashion.
It was as one-sided as it gets.
1 minute and 50 seconds, Mojo.
In the attack. Yep. On Mines. Okay.
It's always hard to surprise, though, on Mines defense. I mean, yeah, you bring this slower lineup with the double CS, but most teams don't instantly counter water. They want to make sure they have the hill first, right? Because hill is usually considered as the key aspect in any breaking of the defense on Mines.
Well, Insane has an interesting view on the games. Always when he picks up a setup, it's usually not a one-minded setup. It can be used for 2 things. Like with this setup Fame played, I think they could have played water equally. Like they could have spotted with CS, tried to shoot the T100. They did it already in the quali stage, in group stage. So I believe that maybe, just maybe, the guys from Tropical were actually counting on that, because there was a lot of lacking damage on Fame climbing up on a hill. Like to the point that I'm not even sure the Super Kongs had a turbo as example to, I don't know, be there faster.
I'm not sure. I didn't really watch, but yeah, those 113s, they were so fast, so furious that I mean, even if the S-Kongs did do a volley Mojo, like the double CS on the hill was always in trouble, right? Nico and
but still, like you remember, like there was like a CS from the guys from Tropical, 2 of them on one from the Fame. The one from Fame was on full HP, not even pressured by the double CSs. They never had time to even turn around to do anything about it. 113s instantly followed. They were ready to take a salvo from the Super Kongs, but it never came, and that pretty much ended the game right there and then. Everything after that was just like them trying to come and do some damage, entering the crossfire. That looked really painful though.
And here we
exactly
see
what you're talking about.
The S-Kongs, I think Smiley does get a shot actually, but bounces it actually. The other ones, they do get a shot as well, but like, did they all miss or something? Like, I feel like they all just missed.
It was just
like matter.
All of the people who fired, there was 1 shot of damage for 500. That's it.
Yeah, now then they're forced to repush with S-Kongs, and Whiterock dropped off the hill in the meantime, so they just get butchered in this really nasty fire, actually.
And Verve is coming, but the focus fire from Fame is not very merciful, as it ever was. Itox is gonna fall next, then Smiley. It's just not gonna happen for them. I mean, so it didn't happen for them.
Indeed, and this is already mop-up operation at this point. I mean, Smiley can do what he wants to. And even that T100, not really a useful tank for this kind of fight. Panu, I mean, he's trying to do his best on towards Feli there, but killing an S-Kong in a T100 is a hard story for anybody. It's a hard thing to do in any tank, let alone a T100, but it's low alpha. So, I mean, not that much to be done there. I mean, Fame, you know, maybe if they stopped in the 113s, it would have been good for Tropical, but they didn't stop.
The only thing that would actually help them is if they managed to track a first 113 maybe and do some significant damage there, and at least trade 1-for-1 tank. Like this was just like one-sided battering, and we saw it. Like the map ended under 2 minutes. There is nothing else to say. And that's the attacking side of the Fame. Now Fame has to opt, like, do they want to play slow plate and just wait for the guys from Tropical, or they actually want to confront them somewhere? Like, this is still an early stage of the tournament, so I don't expect any kind of super progressive tactics from Fame coming in. Probably just gonna wait, man.
I mean, they already have that attacking win, so
yeah,
we'll see. I don't expect them to drive into the middle either, to be honest with you. So, but the lineups will say a lot. Fame coming out with double I7, 4 S-Kongs, and a T100, while Tropical has the 4 113s and IS4 actually, an S-Kong and an STB.
Yeah, and that's actually also not that fast lineup. Like, what do they want to use STB in attack? I wonder. IS4 I can kind of dig. You know, if you wanna, there is a couple of positions you can use it for, like both down and up. But STB, not quite sure. Unless you just wanna retract it and use it on like D4 or something like that.
You can see, I think there's a few tanks from Tropical actually driving towards the 1-2 line, if I wasn't mistaken. And return here, we can see Fame double S-Kong under the hill, I7 countering the STB, Insane does not connect the shell. Whiterock does on the move though. In the meantime, Panu, Nico, and Smiley, I think they're just pushing down 1-2, Mojo.
Yeah, they sent a lot of guys toward the hill, so this is something that Fame could see, but they're just like doing the standard proxy. And they will probably try to use that, the fact that most of the guys are not even aimed there and they didn't see them. So this is a big problem now coming in for Fame. But there is a different thing now. The T100 Light will probably be used as a cooldown for Shokish. So Shokish can just like shoot with his turret above him. So that's the only thing that Fame can do now. Now Fame has to move something and do something with Super Kongs from the base and doing the counter attack on the hill. Will it be on time or enough? We need to see.
We have to see the Mojo here. The shield that you were talking about, it also only works if there is covering fire. Now, all the tanks from Fame are pushing down from the base. Shokish is alone. So this allows Nico and Panu to probably just push up on towards that IS-7, you would assume. I mean, Panu just drives on Shokish here because he has nobody left behind him to cover. And these 113s were spotted so late. So late.
I don't understand. There was like 2 guys, T100 and an IS-7 there. And none of them actually watched down the one line to see them coming, if there is anything like a follow-up attack.
Yeah,
so there is a brawl coming in. As you said, Shokish is taking a lot of damage now from different sides, but still, this is 3 tanks stuck fighting against 1 tank. Actually 2, because one is sniping the Super Kongs in the back while he still can.
But look at the damage that is taken though on Insane onto that IS-7 there, coming out on 225 HP. Prufus picks it up from the back, and it's a similar story here for Fame as it was for Tropical. Repushing that hill is so hard. Panu and Nico clean up Shokish and the IS-7 in the meantime, and now Kaiser in the middle, left alone in his S-Kong. Itox and Prufus are there to make work of that S-Kong, and I think everything fell apart when the 113s were spotted. So
like that was a massive cock-up by like Rishek and Shokish there, but because none of them spotted anything in that regard. Like I think at the end the guys pushing were spotted by the IS-7 that was on like G4, 5.
Yeah, by Insane himself probably.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a massive cock-up that can never happen. Like there should be damage coming already while they're still on F1, G1. Like at least one of those tanks needs to be split in half.
Yeah,
At least one of them.
Yeah, because if you get the spot early enough, you can do 2 shots worth of the S-Conk.
And if one of them gets tracked, he's almost as good as that.
I mean, even the S-Conks from under the hill can kind of shoot it if they're in the right position. And the 2 S-Conks from the base, that's 4 shots. An IS-7 shot is 5. That's a dead 113 basically, Mojo. And then with 2 113s, you don't push the IS-7 and the T100 because you cannot kill the IS-7. And that didn't happen. And Tropical benefited to the max of this and makes it 1-1.
Well, it reminded me a bit on some of those LTP games we saw on Steps, you know, like push one side. I mean, this was a kind of a hidden play done by the guys from Tropical. They sent people on the hill because they saw there is absolutely no one from Fame to contend them on hill. Like the setup was just like too slow and not prone for counterattack on the hill. So they sent like STB because they knew the max they can take is 1 shot of damage or something like that, which is exactly as happened. And Fame, I think they kind of got distracted by that. But that should not prevented anyone from spotting that one line. That's just weird. Well, we can like say maybe it's because of the, you know, being first rounds and they will be more careful in the future, but this was a thrown round. This was a thrown round by that simple move.
Yeah, not spot. You can see how crucial it can be to have one spot, right? One singular spot can be the difference between killing a tank, basically, or possibly killing a tank, to doing absolutely nothing and then being forced into a reaction that you might not be 100% comfortable with doing.
Well, that forced Fame to do something they really didn't want to, that's push up the hill. Also, I would say like it was a good thing by Tropical that they didn't attack I7 with all 3 guys. They actually sent 2, and the third one was shooting the super conks in the back constantly, doing damage while they were still climbing. So that's a very, very important thing because he can do, I would say, minimum 3 shells there while that's going on, and then they can all join. Like there is no way I7 can kill one of the 113s that are down. So like that was actually really well done by them. They were trading here, killing the T100, that's normal and expected. And after that, we can see already there is a push by Fame coming in. Like that's a normal reaction because if they don't do that, they will lose the tanks. Like they will lose the tanks one by one.
And Shockish here, like we said, this is a really strong position by the T100, right, covering you, but it's not that strong when all of your teammates are under the hill and now you are left alone, which means that Nico, Panu are just able to kill this pretty freely. You can see Shockish there cannot get the shots onto a lower HP 113, so he's trying to do as much as he can, but I7 does not have the DPM for such a fight, and the 113s and making short work. But this hill push, it's so costly. It's so hard to pull off really properly, because Furby and White Rock are both positioned on the south-hand side of the hill, which means that if they want to push the south-hand side of the hill, like Insane did, you just get constantly shot in the back by the IS-4 and S-Conk over and over and over and over again. And if you drive towards the north, that means you have to go all the way around the hill into the 113 and STB, which then can even push off into the middle again. And it's just never a trade that really works, to be honest.
Well, the pretty much key thing about all of the games when you play on 7-on-7 is that when the trades start, it's like a domino effect. If you make a major mistake in a start, there is really hard or no way to recover. Like it's really hard. It's only can be done in some kind of brutal exchange on another place of the map that needs to be done on equal footing or whatever. But in this case, there was no way for Fame. Like in this kind of situation, once you are losing so decisively one side, you are forced to move on another, as Ducky said, and then you're going uphill on the mines, and it just never ends well. We will see soon, like the next map. This map was picked by Fame. So we watched Mines, which was Fame's pick. It ended 1-1. And next map we will be watching is Prokhorovka. That's the pick of Tropical School, and we will see how will they play it out. They will be playing in attack. Fame will be playing in defense. Actually, they're going to play on Prokhorovka. Yeah.
Now, Prokomojo, it's an interesting map with 8 minutes, especially with the hill changes as well. I'm kind of curious how teams are going to be trying to defend this one. What do you think is likely? Because it's not that really easy to hold fully over the hill.
Well, a lot of guys like to go over the hill and position there for some kind of cooldown. if they prevent the spot, if they prevent, because there are no EBRs now, it's really hard to sneak into the bushes. Then you can create that kind of crossfire without receiving significant damage from the distance. But if you let control of that village for nothing, it's just not gonna end well, and then you get sniped. I don't expect many people to just sit in a forest because it really never ends well.
E50M though, Mojo, for Tropical?
Yeah, it's like an interesting pick. Like, it's a strong kind of a gun. It's a decent sniper, some kind of an armor you can use maybe to climb the hill with it. I don't know. Nope, they're actually just going for the forest with everything they have. Interesting. I7s, like on Tropical, this is like really old school approach. Like a lot of I7s toward the center for a brawl. Only budget for a control on zero line, but Fame has a vast advantage there because of that.
Yeah,
if they realize what's going on, that budget is so dead.
Yeah, they have a double CS there on zero line. And if the double CS pushes the singular band of White Rock, they will surely kill him.
I mean, those I7s need to do some laser super duper shots to actually.
The bot is running now, though.
Does
he hit the timing? Does he hit the timing? It's very important here to note that the bot is running White Rock. He trusts the bot, makes it out, I think.
Yeah, he was spotted now on the rail, and I think he's right over. Like a couple of seconds later, and he would be in deep problem. Now, Fame is leaving Feli, as you can see, to play kind of a proxy and hold on this side of the rail. So they have Shokish and him there, and the other guys are already in the village, and they took control of the hill. Why did they do that? Like, why is this important to mention? Because that negates a Tropical team any possibility to peek from the middle and shoot those super conquerors while they're only focusing on side over the one cap.
Well, you see the T100 clearing 1-2 line here. He has to like be a little careful. You never know there's a trap, but he will soon figure it out. What is the next move there then, Mojo, you think, for Tropical after they clear 1-2 line?
Well, they will need to do rotation and pressure on those super conks. There is nothing else they can do because they cannot pressure. They cannot cross the rail. Like, that's just not happening. So that means like they will have to judge where is the less people from the Fame team and try to pressure them in. There is no other way.
Yeah,
like sacrificing I7 on lower side of the map, I guess, and pushing with everything on those conks, leaving one guy maybe to snipe. That's about that.
Well, Fame does have the full red control here, with 5 minutes left. And now they're sending the CSs back as well.
Yeah, they need to do something to kind of connect their lines, because at the moment Fame is all over the place. And that can be used against them. Like, as example, if Tropical had some kind of blind luck timing now, and if they pushed now, Fame would be in a deep trouble.
I mean, even the E50M is pulling back. Now, if Tropical cuts across the FG line, there's nothing stopping these S-Quinks from peeking back on the ridge.
It does look like they're gathering up for a push, man, as you can see. Like here below this, and then it's just a question how they want to do it. Like, do they want to cross the rail, ignoring super conks and just like jumping over here, or they want to jump on them? But the way they're positioned, it does look like they want to fight against this side of the map more.
Yeah, I also feel like they'd rather push Elian probably than anything else.
Well, if that happens, they still have like double superconk who might be late, and they left the T100 to kind of give them a notification if the conks are coming for them. But it looks at the moment they're just like, okay, the I7s are gathering up on the lower side also, and that should be the push in next like 20 seconds. As we said already, the timer is 8 minutes here. You don't have that much time. Once the push starts, that's it. There is no second chances. There's not much time for trades here. Like, they need to start doing something now.
Yeah, they have to push the K line. Now, it does look like they're pushing over Vuri and Smiley on towards Insane here in his 5A coming out. 2 shots already, down towards the 1 shot now. So far, not that much damage taken for Tropical here, and they're pushing back towards the hill. Insane will do 1 more. Smiley probably will go down for this, let's be honest. Vuri aiming to connect. He doesn't, but Smiley still picks it up.
Yeah, if Smiley fell there here, I don't think there would be anyone actually left to kill Insane properly. That would be a big problem for them. But now they're still in the game. Equal HP here. Ilian will be next in a chopping line. As you would say, White Rock still has 3 shells. This is really important because of those CSs on top of the hill. Because they will not have an easy job doing whatsoever dealing with those IS-7s.
Now, Feely is pushing over into the middle in his S-Kong, but there's an E50M sniping away. Profus making a good shield here, and he's still waiting for his friend Shockers to come up. And Tropical here doing amazing, actually. You gotta say, that repush coming out really strong. They pick out Feely, Shockers with 2k HP. In the meantime, Duck is pushing back on towards the Bacha. It's not all over here, let's be honest. Shockers could do a lot against Profus, and he needs to go back over the rails in the meantime. E50M, I think, misses a shot as well. Shockers connects his final one there before he goes over the rail. Profus returns and sets him on fire. That will mean that Shockers will burn all the way towards the one shot, and he does not connect on towards Itox. The Profus here actually get the engine shot one more time. He's peeking over. No, yes, he does. And now it's 3v3 Mojo, but 2 minutes left.
Yeah, this is unreal how the tables turn. Like, Shokish did really well, everything, like good connections by him, good positioning. He was really unlucky for the fact that he was set on fire, but this leaves Tropical in a really good position. Now they have higher HP, plus Panu is on T100 light, like he can do really fast rotations, and his gun will not be negligible against these tanks. Like, he can actually pen all of these guys. They are cornering in the position where Insane fell on K7, and there is one CS, Rishik, alone behind the rock on upper side of the field. I think they have to do like kind of I don't know, gathered up push. There is 90 seconds left. They don't have to rush it. They can just like end it up in last seconds. They just need to make sure everything works. So Pano is trying to do 1 or 2 shells on Ilian and Duck of Death, and when the time comes, and that will be in like the next 20-30 seconds, they're gonna just push in. There we go.
Now, Reshake goes down. That leaves Duck and Ilian as 2 survivors there in their tanks, and they are trying to hide behind that wreck of Insane, but Itox and that E50M don't think will struggle connecting. As Ilian goes down, Duck is going to be next, and that will be Tropical actually going to be picking up their second run here, Mojo.
Yeah, it's actually for them a match point. Like, if they manage to win this, they will throw in the next round, they will throw Fame down to the loser bracket. But it's too early to say that. Like, this is actually really decently done for them. As I said, like, I was a bit worried because Fame was a bit stretched all over the map, and I didn't see how will they help each other in some situations. But Tropical saw that also. They use their like battering tanks like I7s to soak up damage, and they pushed really well, like 3 I7s on upper side, and as far as I saw, like 2 I7s and Bachet on lower. No, 2 I7s on upper side and 2 I7s and Bachet on the lower, right?
Yes.
And that T50M was also a big problem for Fame, because he pretty much negated the rotation from the Super Kongs. Yeah, he did 4K also, but he negated the rotation for Super Kongs. I mean, half of the damage came from farming Feely.
Yeah, Feely was pushing by himself though, because Shockers was so far behind.
Well, that's between those two. I mean, they play long enough together that they should know better, right? Shoka did a lot of damage from what he could. It doesn't look a lot, this 1200, but he was in a really bad position, to be honest, and being set on fire at the end doesn't really help his case. It's really funny at the end of the day that Insane, who was the guy who was attacked first and died first, actually did the most damage in Fame team. I don't know, did Rishak and Duck of Death not pen some shells from the hill? Like, they were supposed to cover that by sniping.
Yeah, but I think the moment they push past with the I7s, it becomes really hard for them to connect those shells, because they need to overpeak and then they can get shot back from the middle. You know, because
But you need to pick. That's how it goes.
I think they tried, but like, I don't know. Maybe they bounced a few because that I7 can be a little trolly from time to time. That armor can work.
Stalinium.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible they missed a few too many shots, but still, the repush was correct from Tropical. They saw that isolated 5A in the south, and they knew as well that if they killed the south 5A, you also kill the north 5A, the one at the top side of the rails, which was Ilian. So you lose not 1, but you lose 2 of those tanks in quick succession, actually.
It's interesting, like in these games, they are just 8 minutes now, so there is not much time for rotations. Once you make a call, You actually have to commit. And that's why these games look so simple now, but they're not simple at all, because you really, based on very limited information you have, you need to make a judgment call. Where is your enemy and how are they dispersed? If you make a mistake, that's pretty much marching with, blindfolded eyes into your death.
And this is Feli, just like he's pushing in here, and HP is still kind of even, but Itox on the side is having a great time over here. Actually having a great time. Was this even really needed from Feli? Was it really needed?
I don't understand it. Like, why would you go downhill on the enemy side?
I mean, if Rishek and Duck kill the... like, if he waits for Shoka and they do this together, they maybe kill both of the I7s, actually.
At least they will have the fighting chance, because there would not be one guy targeted all the time. Nice connection here by Shokish, but this this connection by Proofface. Well, that pretty much ended up all the hopes that Fame could have up until that moment.
Yeah, and then he peeks out once more, good peek, knows nobody can really punish him, finishes it off, and then Fame surrounded. And there's nothing they can do anymore at that point. It's just hoping that Tropical somehow pulls in rate and manages to lose by time.
Well, it's 2-1 for guys from the Tropical. They are on their match point. It's gonna be a surprise if they win, but not an undeserved one. But we still need to see what will they actually do on their defensive side. So far, we've seen what Fame tried: control over the rail, dispersing their tanks. It didn't work out. They were read really well by the Tropical guys. Now we need to see what will happen when the roles are vice versa.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Mojo, who would have thought Tropical is up 2-1? They're home match point as well. Fame's against the ropes here. Obviously, this is upper bracket, so you do get a second chance if you lose. But now coming into the second round of Prokhorovka, and that's going to be Fame attacking and Tropical defending. Do you expect to see something similar from Tropical as we saw from Fame?
You mean, will they just go so much offensive so far away? Actually, no, I don't. I think they're gonna put their foot down and wait a bit more. Because it's okay to get a map control like this, but as I said, I just think Fame was too much dispersed. Whoa, what the hell is this, man?
That's a lot of 5As, Mojo. That's 4 5As, double 277 and a T100 for the setup.
That's like a big brawl setup actually for them. This is not a holding setup. This is I want to go and fight kind of setup. And Fame has triple I7, Super Kong, 2 CSs, and a Leopard to cover them behind. This is going to be a very interesting game because by far Fame has a slower setup. Like, will actually Tropical be able to even use that with that T100?
Well, the double 277 is pushing 1-2 line. It's the 4 5As going into the middle with the T100 spotting ahead actually here for the side of Tropical. And it's a double CS in K1, Mojo. The CS is not a good tank for K1.
No, if they get caught there, this will be auto GG for Fame. Like, they're pushing with I7s toward the center so they can get some kind of crossfire. But if this CSs get smelled out by the guy from Tropical, they can drop down with those 277s and just like kill them more or less for free.
Yeah, if those 277s just drop into the hole, they will kill these CSs for free. Like, you can just peek from K2 and peek freely even.
There you go. Fame realize what's going on. They're sending I7s immediately toward the middle so they can brawl with their enemy. Insane, Shokish, and Ilian are marching in for the hold-on positions, but Vervi and Proofface and Nico are already pretty much in cooldowns to cover them. Now we need to see what's gonna happen because there is still a Super Kong and Leopard who is approaching to even have a possible shots here. HP is rather same at the moment. Tropical guys are defending, so they don't have to play something too aggressive if they don't want to. And at the moment, they should not.
No, indeed. And say now going over one more. They want to spot out White Troc and Itox. If those two get spotted, though, it's going to be really bad for the side of Tropical. But now, though both of those, Tropical and Itox, are deciding to push down 1-2. Maybe a little late. White Troc takes 1, White Troc takes 2. Now the 5A from Insane speaking as well. Elian gives 1 in his IS-7. Then comes another shot coming out, this time on towards Itox. Can they kill this double CS? It's not looking that good, Mojo. It's not looking that good.
No, it's looking actually really bad now because I don't think they can kill those two guys anymore because the window of opportunity was thrown away. They put all the spotting on the T100 and they knew that there is something there, but I think they were scared because they didn't know how many tanks of the Fame are there. Duck of Death actually falls in his CS, but the HP advantage is still on Fame side. They're pushing into the little dip where Proofface and Vervi falls. Alien is always full HP, and we can see Proofface is on half, so this is still okay for Fame.
Yeah, this is okay for Fame here. They finally clean up the CSs in the corner, and now the Leo's coming back in as well. That's going to be Kaizu coming in. But Mojo, there's a very important thing here to keep into account, and it's a 2,640 HP S-Cook on the rails.
This is a problem now coming in because there was not an equal exchange coming in here. Alien actually managing to run away, and Kaizu rushing in with Leopard helped a lot. That leaves Feli on full HP and Kaizu on half. But Kaizu is not really meant to trade a tank like VZ, man.
No, he's not doing
yeah.
whatsoever. And now Panu coming back in with the T100. Nico picks it up, and it's Feli all by himself. I mean, he could technically win this, but the T100 is going to be a bane to the existence of that S-Kong. Slow, can get outspotted all the time. This is really good for Tropical, Mojo.
Yeah, they need to avoid by every possible way that Nico confronts Super Kong. Like, he needs to be in a far back pretending to be a tank destroyer or something like that. And Feli, what he wants is actually to make opposite of that. He wants to get up close and personal. He knows that he cannot cap. There is no way in hell for him to sit on cap and survive it. That T100 can reset him endlessly and laugh about it while he's not spotted. But if he catches Nico, Feli has a theoretical one-on-one chance then.
Yeah, but he's already starting to get shot in the side by Panu, though. Now Feli realizes that he has only one move and has to go forward. Panu connects another one. The 5A connects one as well. Feli now has to go. He knows he has to go. But if Nico gets another shot here, that would be great for Nico. He does connect another big one, and he might even get one more because Feli is at least the reload in distance away. And I think Feli also realizes what's going on here. He's kind of, I think, not really giving up, but in gun in the air, he does pick up Nico. He does spot out Panu as well. Maybe he can get a free shot onto Panu here as well. Would be good for Feli. Would make the T100 a 2-shot, but no. And now Panu just plays the I'm a light tank, I run away, and that's gonna
You can do whatever you want. Yeah. Well, there is still a theoretical chance here for Feli. I mean, the HP-wise, they are pretty much the same, but yeah, mobility, the camo, the spotting, everything works for Panu. So technically, Panu has to make a big mistake in order to lose this game. It comes down 1-1, but Panu is the guy who has to lose the game. And Feli needs to play by a hunch. Where is the light? Because you can see, like, he can only say, okay, I got spotted, maybe it's from here. And then he needs to wait and get shot from somewhere by Panu. And there we go. Panu uses the bush, very smart. So, like, Feli can get a direction where he got shot from, but he cannot have a target.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what Feli does at this point. It's 2 minutes and 30 of chasing around, and he also knows that all he can do is hope for Panu to just, like, give himself up to the wolves, because Panu is just going to keep running the whole time, and Feli can't camp, can't chase. This is the unwinnable scenario.
Well, sad little panda. That's Feli now. There is nothing he can do to pedal faster. There is nothing he can do to catch up to Panu, and Panu is playing it really smart and well. And now he can just, like, sit on this hill and wait. He can spot Feli from whichever side he decides to come. He can shoot him down. Feli has no time to cap. Panu has no reason to risk. He doesn't have to kill him. He is defending. He can just wait this 1 minute and 40 seconds to end.
That's exactly what he will do as well. And Panu connects one more on towards Feli.
And he a greedy one. He actually shot him again.
Yeah, I think he's even going to try to kill him if he can. I mean, Feli's putting good blind fires. They are close, but no cigar for him. So now Panu looks, doesn't score though. Feli's still blind firing. Panu might get spotted here, but he doesn't. Can Panu connect? No. Ooh, that was close. That was close. Now Panu still has a few shots left. I mean, I don't even think Feli gets.
Would that be a game of a century if Feli actually connects and burns Panu? Because that's the only thing that can save him at this moment.
Would be funny. Would be funny, but Panu is playing it smart now, running away, securing the W for his team. I mean, with 50 seconds left, it's unlikely for...
I mean, Philly will just about climb the hill by the time that Pano leaves. But Philly is smarter than that. He immediately goes down and pretty much guesses that Pano will try to leave or do something like that. But he cannot guess that Pano is already completely far away. And look at this. It's so dirty, man. The playing of light against the heavy tech on open map.
Does Pano go for it? Come on, Pano, go for it. You know you want it. And he connects it as well, and it's going to be Tropical Clan School picking it up 3-1 over Famojo. I don't think really anybody expected this whatsoever.
Well, I guess this is like a big second surprise. I mean, the first one could happen because Raid is not normal 7-on-7 team. And you could say that someone coming out from the dark can always, surprise and beat. So that can happen. But this is like a team that won the last WoT7 tournament, like Fame, the guys who play, like most of them played like a Gold League and things like that. And they just flunked it here. And some of the games were not even that close.
No, and then Kaiser doing very good damage in his Leo, though. 4k coming out, Mojo. Not bad whatsoever. Really,
Kaizo does have a good sniping abilities.
Yeah.
And someone has to replace Nile on sniping, I guess, because I don't see Nile playing this time.
No, Pano with 3.5k, Mojo.
It's amazing for Light. In last game, he also had 4 kills on his T100 Light. I'm just going to mention that. And he was one of the surviving guys in that game. So I guess like his T100 plays actually really paid off. Also, look at the clan score like Nico. Nico did more than 4k in VZ, which is not that easy. He was the guy who was left at the end on one shot, and he made a really good number on Philly also with that.
Yeah, he made a very good number on Philly. Pano doing very, very well in his light tank. 3.5k damage is more than you would really expect from a T100. But at the end of the day, he made it work. He did well. He survived. And he came in with the damage. And Tropical deservedly winning the game here at the end of the day. They made good rotations. They made good plays. And yeah, there's not much else to say about it. They did well. Their repush on Proco was really good. The first the one mines you can really like consider that it was
those mines fame through really, like not spotting there, that was like a complete throw. But the rest of the games, especially this Prokhorivka, was completely legit 100% win by good work by Tropical. That's it.
Yeah, it was good stuff there. I really liked their Proco K-line repush, realizing the opportunities they had available there. Here they were a little afraid of too long. If they push down wall 2 line now, with the double... I mean, I guess they were afraid that the Leo might be there, right, in K2?
I think they were afraid that Fame will have more focus tanks ready to shoot that. And that they didn't know until the I7s actually came all here. They had no idea, are they grouped up or they had something in a corner waiting for them more. Like one I7. So I think they were just afraid they will hit a bastion of defense and get in a really weird crossfire. So that made them hesitate. But at the end of the day, Fame just didn't win their brawls. And they didn't make the good use of that Super Kong. That's the biggest problem, I think.
I mean, Philly should have been closing the middle here the whole time, I think, to be honest. I think he's sniping towards K-line. But I think he should have been driving towards the mid almost the whole time if they wanted to make this work. With re-pushing like this.
Yeah, I guess like he should have been already like something like this. Covering from there.
Yeah, so at least he can come in now and clean up, together with Kaizu.
Yeah, so he can help Kaizu because Kaizu went into the dip to help Alien in I7, I think. And he did damage and everything, and then he couldn't run away. And there was no one to help him. So that was a big problem. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have, like, it's pretty much same as in randoms. It doesn't matter if you have a heavy on full HP. If you're on an open map, like the Predator is actually a light tank, always. Or a medium, if there is none of that. But anyways, well-deserved victory for Tropical. They're passing on up more on upper bracket. It's not the end of the day for Fame. I mean, it's the end of the day for today, but not for a tournament, because they will be falling to the lower bracket and they will get their second chance there. The only team that we had to say goodbye so far is Raid, who lost the first match also 1-3 to LTP.
Yeah, and so far both winners are deserved, I would say. And
dark horses of the tournament.
Dark horses. Surprises and upsets coming in, and I can't wait to hear what Keehan and Sfitman think about these results so far.
And welcome back to the analyst's desk, or is it a bench? Who knows at this point? But yeah, after a weird match 1 to start this off, another upset coming in. As Daki and Mojo said, the winners of the past WoT7 tournament being knocked down to the lower bracket by a team which we haven't really seen before, at least not the name. Obviously the players, some of them have played tournaments before, but I have to say, I personally had the impression that some of the tactics and pushes that Tropical employed, Fame just didn't expect, or also the setups.
Yeah, as we saw last time when Fame was playing, the tactics are just so well prepared and they are in quotes ready for almost anything. And Tropical, I'm not going to take away from their success because they played very well and they were prepared for literally everything. They just struck the hammer on the nail exactly where Fame hurts the most. Because you saw the 5As and the 277s on the Proco in the last game, even though they were a bit hesitant, they still managed to pull that off. And you saw the amazing repush of the IS7s on the K line on the first Proco game. It was just they were well prepared and everything was well executed.
Yeah, and I mean, call me Piotr, the E50M for him didn't work in the 15v15 mode, but it does come in heavily on Prokhorovka in 7v7. I guess we finally know why it was picked. Beautiful stuff from them. And yeah, other than that, I think we can take a look at the tournament bracket, how it's going to look now, because Fame was seed 1 from the group stage, if memory serves me right, and this already has implications for the later matches. Because Fame now lost to TCS, they are still the highest possible seed from group match, which means they are going to for sure play in match number 5 now. And the loser of match 3, so the German Potatoes, which are upcoming against Invil, that one is gonna drop down to match 4, where they will meet LTP. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to see Fame tomorrow as a first game with the match 4 winner, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we have the German Potatoes against Invil. Which is a repeat of one of the group matches, which was 3-0 for German Potatoes.
Yep, and I remember I was asked to guess basically the result of the match, and I was like, I'm going with a 3-1 Invil, and then I was being told it's 3-0, and then I thought, oh, okay, Invil might have won 3-0 then, and then I was told, it was actually the German Potatoes coming in strong, coming in hot, and just steamrolling the Polish team in that group stage match. However, even though the tank limitations in group stage and playoff stage now were or have been the same, I think probably by the Invil side, there has been a lot more preparation going into what they're going to do in the match against German Potatoes now, because no one wants to do what Fame just did, which is drop down to the loser's bracket. You don't want to be there. You want to have that comfort of just, having the one more slip up at your disposal. Now, the upcoming match here, you can see the players obviously also. Invil not even choosing to take a 9th player. Normally you can take player rosters of 9. They're saying, well, we can make do with 8 people. German Potatoes, ironically, with 1 HP. The Italian team captain, I believe he has dual citizenship. Also, Amaranth, otherwise known as Evi Tank, as an Austrian, completing the roster. Yeah, a fun match which we are gonna see. However, I would love to also have the replays from the last match so we could go over them one more time. And yeah, just take a look at how Fame was made to stumble, I guess.
Yeah, like the Mines game, where literally just well, I'll just do this and let's see what the enemy does. And one game it worked for Fame, where they just saw the 2 CSs and was like, well, where do you send 2 CSs on a defense? There is just one place where you can do that. Because the Fame team didn't have any spotter for the K-line cross, so they had to go hill.
Also interesting for me myself is normally Mines is considered to be sort of a defensive-sided map, especially when you have 8 minutes instead of 10 to attack. But now actually both teams here are able to convert their attacks onto Mines. So that was pretty interesting for me at least to see. And yeah, here you can just see that Fame, they took the hill aggressively at Tropical. They're trying to repush it, but the crossfire, it's just brutal. They're just tearing them apart at this point. But that is the only round that Fame is actually going to take here from Tropical Clown School. Obviously, as soon as Fame has such an advantage, they don't let go of it. The counter push onto Smiley and Itox, perfect. They penetrate all their shots. The guns go down. The T100 isn't even made to fight, so Feli in the Super Conk has no problem DPMing the T100 down in the back. But here is where the problem started for Fame. One, Rishek was not spotting the cross, or rather he was spotting it a lot too late, which in turn meant that I think it was only Insane doing one shot of damage on the cross. And then the 3-1-13s, they have free reign over the island, and Fame is forced into a repush onto the hill, where they are being crossfired just like what they did to Tropical in the round before.
Yeah, we saw Fame use the same T100 IS7 combo in the last tournament where it worked perfectly. But as Ducky and Mojo said, you need to have tanks on like K4 and maybe G5 that cover the IS7. Because now they were just, Manu and Nico were just able to drive up and kill Showcase with Rishek being just a slight inconvenience instead of being a super strong position. And then the repush from Fame was never going to work just because Itak took IS4. And why IS4? It has very similar DPM to S-Kong, and it has more armor, especially in the side scrap. So in the drop position, he was able to farm even more than the S-Kong normally would.
Yeah, and also the IS4, like you can also play it hold down, since the overmatch plate on top of the turret roof was removed. You can just try and pray that you hit the cupolas, but that's not often gonna happen. All of that aside though, we are now in game number 3 in between those two, and we now see that push by Feli that was already criticized by Ducky and Mojo, and I have to agree here. Yes, time is of the essence, but then again still, he needs to wait for Shokish here, so the combined DPM of 2 Super Conks starts really winning out against the IS7s. This right now, this is Feli getting shot at by double IS7 plus the 50M in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Showcase was, I don't know if Showcase was late or Feli was early or both at the same time, but it definitely was not correct, and you see Feli just dying almost for free, with Showcase just being around the hill, and then Showcase forcing to retreat, while Prufu is getting a very good shot in the fuel tanks of Showcase and setting him on fire. Which probably in the end it wouldn't matter in the result, because Showcase couldn't make it into a safe spot anyway, but it made it easier for Tropical. But now, with the repush of IS7s against the 5As, which I'm going to touch up later, why the 5As, and we are seeing as Tropical is just hesitant to do anything because they are afraid that Fame is going to catch them up doing something.
Yeah, the thing here is though, it's like triple IS7 here, and yeah, the IS7 it matches the alpha of the 5A or even the 277, but one, it has yeah, very long reload, which is problematic when you do exactly this, when you go into the face-off, because every tank is going to pen each other anyway, and then suddenly the 5A DPM starts kicking in, which is a big problem for the IS7s. And second, the pen is also not the best for the IS7, so prolonged cooldown trades are not going to work either, and this is just where the 5As just, yeah, are straight out better in the shootout.
Yeah, that's why the Fame team just wanted to play, and they didn't want to make it long, because even if the, like you said, alpha is the same, the IS7s just, yes, have the turret, but that's basically any armor that they have against the 3-4 the heat of 5A, and we are just seeing Panu luring
as we just had another... I mean, can't look at the casters enough, right? Can you?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, well played here to Tropical Clown School. Honestly, something that I did not expect, that I did not see coming, but yet it happened. And yeah, that that all being said and done, we are now up for yet another game. It's going to be German Potatoes against Idil, so Germany against Poland, basically. What do you expect to see here? I mean, we've had a lot of upsets now. Who would you put your money on if you were a betting man?
It's hard to tell. Like I said, the 8 minutes basically doesn't make it more defense-sided, it makes it more random, because both teams are forced to do something, and it's easier to catch the defender with pants down, because they are playing too carefully, because, oh, I have so less time, so I just have to hold for a few more seconds, and it works. But that makes the attacker have more chances to actually catch the defender. So I would say it's 50-50 as both of the matches we just saw. It's about, well, how many teams can catch the other teams, how often, and like that.
All right, so you're coming in with a 50-50 bet, keeping your head covered, I see. I'm just going to say the bigger name of Invil for me is the favorite, but, you know, we've had upset after upset, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think the casters are ready, though, so let's stop with us and let's go back over to them.
Yes, thank you very, very much, Kihand and Svitman.
Well, welcome back, guys. Ducky has his mute kind of twitch, so it's happening. Anyways, you saw the match, you saw the Fame falling for the lower bracket. It's not the first time. And how to repair their plays, because certainly people are expecting them to live up to the expectations. Anyways, the next match we will be watching is third in a row. It's going to be Invil and German Potatoes playing. We can see Invil team that's pretty much unchanged from the last tournament, more or less. I think Pans Fury maybe didn't play, I'm not sure about that. And German Potatoes are the guys that are the mixture from Meme and the guys from Fame. And I believe Azum is from T17. I was expecting, I was disappointed when Kihen told me who Amorat was. I was expecting some kind of a bathtub, I don't know, support for their homies, but it's not gonna happen, I guess.
Map picks though, Mojo. Muro, Vanka, and Prokhorovka being removed here by Invil and Germans respectively. And then Mainz's first map and Cliff's second map.
Yeah, they definitely opted for faster maps with a possible collision on both of them on the middle, so they pretty much banned all the slower maps, and they might want to fight each other. Actually, this could be a really interesting brawl match. It just depends, will they tactically decide to do so. I watched some stream from Jackefa when he was playing the group stage and stuff, and the team of Potatoes actually looks really well, and I would say to people not to underestimate them at all.
So the names here are wrong for everybody wondering. Invil has 4 113s, a 50B, an IS4, and an S-Kong, while Potatoes has double 113, an E100, double S-Kong, and double CS.
Yeah, Invil on the left side and German Potatoes on the right one. We will be watching Mainz. Invil will be on attacking side with that 50B, IS4, and Super Kong. It's interesting to see what they plan to do with that.
Well, the E100 doesn't really say brawl though much, does it?
No, this is a way slower setup that I would expect. So this is not something they want to do. They positioned everywhere to shoot people going up toward the hill. They're in position for that, but Invil is not taking the bait. They're just going to come there for some cooldown action.
Well, there's a lot of things here though for German Potatoes on the 4-line, Mojo. I don't really understand what it's supposed to do. Toxic takes 2 shots for free. What? What was this double CS doing?
I don't understand. I guess they wanted to shoot someone going up. That didn't happen, and they were sitting there and taking punches. Why? I have no idea, but they are rotating immediately toward the 1 line. And there is a new play that we haven't seen in a while. IS4 going toward the 1 cap all the way around.
Can he play on the cap and side scrape off it? I mean, no, because he can just get reset.
He can get reset, but he can... I think he can position. It's either that, or they just want to push behind the house and get a crossfire on E100 from there.
I don't really like the positions here from Potatoes anymore, Mojo. I mean, this double CS move, I don't understand anything about it. Like, I don't understand what was the point of doing it. Sokar, though, a little greedy there, but he does want to provide covering for his Eskong friend to get on the hill, which he does, unscathed. Panzer Fury there, coming up strong. So Sokar maybe baiting some shots for him?
This is definitely the smartest play coming in from guys from Inwil. They're pressuring the weakest spot of German Potatoes. If they actually manage to get people behind the building, maybe somewhere here, they can pressure the 100. If not, the B is there to cover the IS-4.
Now Felix forced to cross over with his 113 friend, taking more damage there on the crossing. And so far, so good, you gotta say, from Infill. Now they have 3 tanks stuck under the hill and a 3k HP lead.
Yeah, also the CSs are stuck on other side of the map and they're being controlled by one of the 113s. On the other hand, like pretty much, if you look, guys, like Inwil forces barely have anyone who lost a lot of HP. Piotrix is burning a bit, so his ass is on fire. So that's not the best thing, but it's not the crucial one. He is actually still very healthy with 1800. So Panzer Fury is finally left alone on the hill with his super conk and hold down. There will be, of course, 113 held to have a crossfire with him, so he cannot get easily pushed. And what is like Inwil now opting for? As soon as they made German Potatoes rotate their forces toward that one cap where IS-4 is, they're actually sending everyone away. And they're gonna do a dual kind of pressure. Pressure from the hill and pressure for the one line.
I think Potatoes is in a lot of trouble here, Mojo, to be honest.
Well, they have a lot of HP on half HP. Pretty much their whole defense is now relying on Jakefa and Save Me to do damage with those super conks wherever the push comes from. So are they aimed on time? Will they actually connect the shells?
That's all pushing down. Rexstar, never. They're not spotted yet, Mojo. They're still now they are spotted, and Toxic misses the first shot.
It's too late.
Way too late. They won't even get a single shot on them crossing on those double 113s.
This is like that Fame scenario, man. And even these two tanks here have no cooldown option like the Fame had. No T100 to make any kind of cover for I7 or whatever. CSs don't have any kind of turret armor that can play against 113s. It's just like Never has to take some damage instead of Rexar, so Rexar doesn't die in vain here.
Yeah, Toxic, I think, misses his probably final shot there. Now Never does get ammo racked once. Toxic needs to be careful in his CS. Ooh, little over-angling there. But now Toxic is going to get a nice shot on towards Rexar. You got to say Azu and Toxic, they're doing well here together, but they are going to go down nonetheless because they lost that initial HP. I mean, Toxic gets another one onto Never, drops him low, and here comes the hill repush in the meantime, Mojo. And you gotta say, what would have happened if those double CSs didn't lose all their HP in the beginning?
Well, if they're full, I seriously doubt that Inwil would actually opt for this kind of push then. This was a bit calculated. Also, like there is a counter push instead on the top of the hill. You got wrecked, he's already on one-shot coma, will not even be able to push up with his even 100, he's already dead. That crossfire between Ketzai like Sokar and Panzer Fury is really coming to effect, and there is nothing by strands of HP left on German Potatoes, guys. This is very similar to what happened to Fame from the very same side, and they're ending up in a pretty similar fashion.
Yeah, this was a weird round though, gotta say. Really, like, I just don't understand what the CSs were doing on 3-4 line, honestly. I really don't get it. They lost half their HP or more on both of them for this move. Immediately put them in a bad position, and then you gotta ask the next question. Why is the double 113 on the 4 line as well?
It looks like they expected maybe Inwil to just like blindly push somewhere full speed ahead, like YOLO ahead in the start of the game. And they were kind of thinking, okay, we're gonna sit here and shoot them inside. Maybe they were hoping that place will be water. And then like counter push the hill immediately with those CSs and whatever. But Inwil just came on mid and they were like, okay, we're gonna do some cooldown action and shoot you to the pieces. And not a single tank lost for Inwil side.
Yeah.
Azum still did a lot of damage, even with that HP, trading with those 103s really well. I mean,
Toxic also did 2k there, still in his CS.
So the damage is pretty much lacking on the rest of the tanks who were just being proxy spotters for the most of the game, and then they were forced to push uphill in the middle of the crossfire where Ketzai and the rest of the guys were just waiting for them. It's just like a story that never ends well. Huh?
No, not especially not against the 50B. He gets a free clip when you're going up, and then by the time you're actually pushing it, he's reloaded. And he's either killing the guy in the middle or coming behind you on the hill with another 4 shots. So, I mean, good stuff there for Envil. Correct rotation. The 113s, there in 1-2 line, probably could have played it better, though, gotta be honest. Not the greatest cohesion between those two. Actually giving Toxic and Azum a small chance to win it. It was very small, but could have been done better.
Well, not a single defense won yet on mines. Let's see if In will be the first today, because all 3 that were played today were lost so far. I don't know, Invil played it smart, man. Like, they played it cohesive. They didn't make any mistakes. I wouldn't even say they played it that brilliant. The good move was with that IS-4 to bait them to rotate on one side and then to rotate on the other. So good calls made by Invil also in that regard. It's just like there was a lot of mistakes made and a lot of insecurity from German potatoes. Like, I was watching them, as I said, like on Jackafa's stream, and they looked well. They looked way more cohesive than this in that group stage.
True. I mean, this is also good by Toxic here, picking out against Rexar and giving him a shot there from the side. And then this hill repush is just never gonna work. Really, we saw it already once, and I think this one was died even harder than the Fame one did. So Potatoes gonna have to recover. I mean, Mines is not like the thing is Potatoes, Mojo. They like I watch some games. They like to push, but like Mines is not really a map that's so convenient to just push.
Well, this was Invil's pick, this map, and Potatoes did pick Cliff. So we will see when it comes to that. It's still like we need to see them now attacking on the mines. As I said, like not a single defender won yet. But if Invil just like doesn't make any major mistakes, I mean, Mines is still a good defensive map. I really don't understand how are people just making so many mistakes now in 7-on-7 while defending. Like if you remember the Gold League, Mines was one of the hardest maps to break. And it came down hands down to like pretty much 1 or 2 ways, and it was brute force and some luck required.
Maybe Invil can show us how it is done, Mojo. Maybe they can be the one to teach us about Mines defense and all its hardness to overcome for the attacking side.
Well, we will see very soon after the scenery is over. I'm still like kind of baffled, man. Like all of the things that you think about premises, like that were pretty much normal back in the day, are falling to crumbles now. And I'm not sure, is it like more because people are just making mistakes because they're not used to this format anymore, or it's just like that meta changed? But these are tanks all from the tech change. There are no EBRs and stuff.
And a Force B, Mojo.
And it's in attack.
Why? Are they going water cap immediately?
I mean, I don't see them playing anything else. Technically, they could take the hill easily with this. And if Invil really wanted to counter push them, they could massacre them with that crossfire. But if Invil just doesn't come, what you gonna do with that hill then?
I don't know. I mean, it's only the T100 crossing. No, they're not going water cap straight, Mojo.
Yeah, they're taking the hill with 3 CSs. But Invil doesn't have any reason to do anything. They just need to let them. They literally just need to let them. Okay, it's a funky tactics. Like, I mean, I generally like to see it, even if it ends miserably. Maybe there is a slither of a chance that they will actually do something about it. Now, Never takes like a careless shot here. Like, this was not the damage he needed to take on that IS-7. He was just like greedy to get in position to shoot. And Samigot and Yakefa actually climbing up to relieve the CSs. CSs will leave the hill very shortly. Yep, without taking damage. So these CSs will just leave very shortly to make the rotations. Like, the key is now what the hell they want to play with CSs now. Like, as we said before, without the blue screen or whatever, there is only 2 ways to break this map, pretty much, when it comes to that. And it's to push either 1 line or to push 9 line, and then you play something with the center. There is, unless the defender makes a big mistake, very few other options you can do. You cannot climb the hills anymore like you could before. There are no hidden climbs. There is no like any abuses of that exist anymore. it's straightforward. You need to do some kind of brute force push. So they have 3 CSs. They will have to take speed and try to make the best work of that. Breaking the I7 and the guys around the 2 cap is just not happening with this lineup.
The Force B is shielding Mojo. He's actually shielding the K91. I don't know if it's weird sacrificing a whole tier 10 for this. What do you...
I don't think it is, man. Like, to be honest, in our experience in matches we had like over the years, it never paid off to sacrifice entire tier 10 for attempt of cap. Also, like, the tanks they have supporting do not have like significant DPM.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before in 768 mainly, to be honest, where you put like an even 90 on the cap, and then maybe shield after with a 113, but playing with 5 tanks on the hill and 1 tank on the cap, I mean, at least the K91 can fight the guy that's pushing him.
But there is no need for anyone to push him. Like, they have T100 who can flank. They need to focus on pressuring the hill. Pressuring without suiciding the hill and send T100 to decap. Okay, T1 cannot prevent that.
Flanking from where though?
I would say from other side, but that's why I'm saying, like, there needs to be a pressure from the middle first.
Well, it does look like there's double Escon going under the hill now. It's going to be like together with Piotrix. Let's see when they find a reset angle on Comma. If they do even find one, the T100 is now starting to go around. Felix will be there in his CS actually countering. This kind of Comma actually goes D-spotted as well. It's very annoying for these Escons not having the outline available. Now the T100 flanked all the way, but still they have not found the reset yet, Mojo.
This is so cheeky, man. And also I think like there was 2 ways to go with T100 and they could have used even the simpler one than this. They could have just like used the proxy of Superconks and just charged him down behind the house.
Never is going to have to go for it. Never is literally going to have to go for the crossing there. And they do get a reset, but at what cost? What cost? Like down towards a 1-shot for this play. Now the Escon dropping off from the hill. I don't know if that was worth it already. Now they pick up the Escon. Can Koma is going to go back on the cap.
Yeah, this is like not working out for Invil at the moment, but I think their tanks in a really wrong way at the moment. That's what I don't like, but still, the HP is in the Evil's favor. Like, they're still 2k HP up, but they do need to deal with the pressure in the cap.
Yeah, but
now, there is some damage coming in on Jakefel. Like, there is light sniping from that A4, A5 position. Like, he is actually settled here, believe it or not, and he's doing the damage dealing role. I was actually expecting they're gonna throw him by charging him while their fight is on. He was just gonna bypass and reset Comma and, you know, occupy his attention.
I don't think I agree with Fabian dropping off the Jakafa, dropping off the hill there in his Eskonk. I don't really agree with this because now the hill repush is actually a possibility again for the side of Invil. I mean, they're sending Never, Rexar, Panzer Fury here. I think Save Me God should be very wary that there's going to be a full hill repush. They dropped off too many tanks.
They're actually now anticipating that, and they send Azum to try to proxy it. So they know that that jig is up, but will it be enough? It remains to be seen. Like, Superconk needs to run away, but there will be initial cap pressure. I think the cap will be actually pressured even more now. Yeah, because there will be at least 2 guys and 1 guy will charge toward the Superconk to prevent him from decapping.
It all depends.
10 seconds, 9 seconds, 3 guys in the cap, 7 seconds. Like, will he decap?
6 seconds. Get Sign out trying to get the reset in his T100 back to 5 seconds. And the T100 he's peeking out, he's peeking over. Can he get it? He's going to get rammed here by Luca. And the Aski does get the reset, the very crucial reset on the back of Koma there. I think he hit the track in that T100, saving the game there almost for the, well, not almost. Literally saving the game for his team, but it's not over just yet. The damage is being dealt now. Azum, the only one left standing on the hill. He's trying to do what he can. He might get one more shot in that CS, if possible. If he could pick up Rexar here, no, never has the reload to pick him up. And now Koma, is he safe on the cap in some way? Like, I think he's sticking out.
I think Koma is okay. The guy that can easily die is Jakefa, because I think these guys will line up and try to jump down now. Because Koma, while capping, can actually not shoot. He's not in position to do that. And if they just drop on Jakefa, they need someone like Panzer Fury to do that. And they must do it. Because Never is coming from the side, Soccer is coming from the side. So they're actually judging that those 10 seconds are more than enough. If they manage to reset one more time, there is nothing that will help German potatoes anymore. Now there is a Koma left as a DPM machine with a lot of HP, but he cannot sustain himself. There you go. His tank, he takes a shot from the hill. So that was an interesting gimmick. It almost worked, but I think also Invil hesitated too much in the start.
Like, Invil here coming out strong. They're going to put themselves on, well, strong, debatable actually. They're going to put themselves on match point nonetheless though. But I honestly think, okay, Felix dropping off the hill. Okay, sure, you want some tanks to create crossfire on the 7 line, right? It makes sense. But Fabian and the S1 dropping off the hill sold the game, in my opinion. It literally sold the game.
I don't think it was like something that he just did on his own. That was probably something predetermined by the team.
Yeah,
so it was a team decision.
If it's a team decision, it's a bad team decision.
It's something that we've seen. People try to sacrifice a tank for a cap. It's a good gimmick. This one actually almost worked. But I think it almost worked because it didn't look to me that Invil actually responded that well in one moment. Sacrificing Super Conk for a decap was a must move. So Invil had to do it because the light couldn't pass, and I think they just like overall kind of distributed tanks in a bad way for that decap. I really expected like them to do it from the start, to make a pressure toward the hill and decap in process from the lower side by keeping maybe one conk and just going with T100 behind K91.
I mean, it's hard for the T100 to flank all the way around though. He can get spotted. He cannot make it fully unspotted.
Even from the base?
Yeah, no. Like, he can get onto A4 as he did, right? Like, he can get onto A4 unspotted, but once he wants to cross...
No, but I've been thinking from his own base.
I mean...
go through your own cap, like where the usual cap would be, and behind the houses.
But then he dies against the K91, though. Like, he always dies against the K91. He has no chance, because, like... So, let's say you go behind the K91 with the T100, you need to go to the furthest house, right? So, you could maybe get shot on the crossing. It's possible, if somebody's speaking. But then, once you get to the latest house, the ones where Koma is, the K91 kills you completely, because if you go behind the house, you get shot from the hill. So you're forced to sit there, right? So you get the 1 decap, and then immediately after, the K91 DPMs you to death and goes back to come to the cap.
I mean, at the end of the day, Invil proves us that they were right, whatever they were doing. I was just expecting them to do it a bit different. I didn't expect them to put T100 at sniping position, because that could have easily backfired a lot.
This is it, I think. Does Fabian drop here? I think he just, I don't know, like, I don't know if it was a team decision, like you said, or an individual one, but there's no need to drop. You see, like, he's dropping off now.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, I guess they were afraid they have no spot on T100, and the T100 can actually slip by.
He will always be spotted on B7 by the S-Conk at the latest, right? Because it's like 200 meters. You cannot get past that and spot it, because if there's an S-Conk here, I don't think they can win this hill repush.
No. And K91 and 1 S-Conk would be more than enough to deal with the...
K91 and the CS, yeah. K91 and the Felix CS is enough to deal with that 1 S-Conk indeed. And they don't lose this hill repush, because even now it's like... It's not like Invil has tons of HP remaining, and Potatoes were missing 2k of it on the hill.
Well, that was an interesting attempt. Anyhow, like, seriously, because it came really close against a very experienced team like Invil. Like, even we were not sure what they were gonna actually try with that. No matter how much I was thinking about the use of that Foch, I couldn't really come up with a serious plan, how to use it as a damage dealer here. But it didn't work out, and Invil is on match point now, so they're leading 2-0 after Mines. And we will be watching Cliff. Cliff is, as we already said, you can see here, it's a German Potatoes pick, and they will be playing from attacking side, and Invil will be playing from the defense.
It is a map, Cliff, where you can go for the all-out aggression. Most teams favor it as well. It's kind of hard to defend from, to be honest, by sitting back, because they can take all the positions they want to. Lineups will say a lot. Invil, Kran, 22277, double CS and a TVP. Now, Potatoes, I'm playing with a Kran, a 277, double BAT, double CS and a TVP.
No worries, guys. Working as intended. It's all fine.
Nice flex there. I have a Nokia 3310. Alright.
Well, let's see Invil, who plays with double CS and TVP. We would like to see the game, though. and 3 277s and a Kranwagen. Like we've seen during the quali period that German Potatoes played really a lot with those double butt-shots, and it usually paid off quite handsomely because they did nice rotations with them. CS is doing immediate spot on the mid with Felix. He's not trying to climb up, of course, and Like is doing the same on other side. Like takes a one shot of damage from the supporting tanks of German Potatoes. So actually quite moderate approach by both of the teams. Not too aggressive, just giving some eyes up and a lot of supporting positions.
Felix is on the top ramp here. Invil has picked for the more defensive option though.
Yeah, definitely. They send like Never in that pocket on D4, TVP and 277 controlling the lower side of the hill. They had CS to just proxy. Is there any kind of significant push in a start? And now they're taking it over with heavy tanks. And Rekt got pretty much spotted in really bad moment for him and lost almost half HP on that Kran. It's still not that harsh, like because Comrade Felix still climbed up unscathed on the top of the hill, and they are rotating around, completely not spotted with those double butt shots and 277.
Panda Fury there actually gets a big shell in return onto Toxic on the TVP. I don't even think he was spotted out there, but he does connect. A very nice shell. Come on now, flanking around the outside when it's 277. If you can get some shots on Ketsai, he does get one, but Ketsai actually has that cooldown where he is now to play with, where he cannot get countered by said 277 actually.
Yeah, the good thing for Ketsai is because he can linger on the opposite side of the rock, which is good for him. Like he can be from this side here and protect himself from this line because his teammates are controlling everything here. Basically, this would be completely impossible if Invil was not controlling these positions and if they didn't know it's all safe. Now, everything that actually German Potatoes did came to pretty much nothing. They're close to pressuring the cap, but they cannot do anything that significant. Soccer taking shot of damage. They're judging that there is not that many guys from German Potatoes actually covering the climb, and they're taking a risk with double 277. Soccer and Rex are trying to go up to push the CS down from the hill.
I mean, they're correct with this assumption, though. I mean, yeah, they take some damage, Mojo, but
they will win the hill. That's really important.
Like, I understand now that it looks like Potatoes is in a good spot. You know, they have 1,200 extra HP, but without the hill.
And there is an immediate response coming in from Potatoes. You can see the budget rotations coming in as we speak. Felix is trying to hold off the 277s. They need to kind of renegotiate who is going first to take the shot because, you know, they're both on half HP and less. And Rexar is actually just going down to proxy what's going around, but it's already too late. And even if he was doing it earlier, it wouldn't matter because everyone from German Potatoes already abandoned positions and they're doing it not spotted.
Look at his rotation. That is good timing. Really good timing, Mojo.
Yeah, there is information coming from his team. There is nothing here. And if he didn't run away, this counter push that's coming in from the German Potatoes would annihilate him like this. Even TVP is running away in the backline. This is a really nice movement from the both teams, I would say, like, hands down. This is nice to watch.
Reactions and counter reactions coming out, and so far Invil far ahead with their reactions. Felix now pushed down as well in his CS. Rex are realizing there's still somebody further back, and now Potatoes do retake 1-2 line, but there's nothing there.
I think they will have to push the mid. I literally think they will have to push the mid. Because they're on attacking side, there is 3.5 minutes. That's even possible one more rotation that's easy to read because Invil is controlling the hill. They literally need to go and try to kill Ketsai on a center together with Kranwagen and Pants Fury and 277. But that will get them in a crossfire by a couple of tanks from Invil, mainly the CSs. But that's about that. TVP will be out of the game if that happens, and the guys on top of the hill with 277s can do some shots and cannot always.
Well, now,
it's a gamble. It's a gamble.
Potatoes is pushing out 1-2 line against the TVP there of Piotrix. Piotrix now readjusting. They were spotted kind of late though, gotta say, but Toxic takes another shot of damage for that, down towards 800, down towards 500, now down towards 200, and actually gets picked up by Never as well. Good stuff there coming out from Invil, good shooting, and yes, Mojo, time is always ticking, and it's ticking to 2 minutes and 43 seconds right now for Invil to win this game by default. But now, Never does get clipped out in return, though, by Fabian in the back. But look at Piotrix, Mojo. Piotrix knows. He realizes that Fabian is on reload, Jakifa. There in that bad is on reload, and Piotrix picks up this pretty significant kill here, puts in the 3 shots that are needed to pick that one up. And now Invil has closed down the 1-2 line. It's out of business. It's out of order. They can't go there.
Yeah, it's a problem now. Like, there is so little HP left for German Potatoes, 5k HP. Azum didn't need to take this shell now from Never. That really puts him in a dire position because Never can end him anyway. Saving God should have maybe pushed the TVP, but he had only 3 shells, so he was not sure he can actually kill him. And that was his hesitation. Now Invil is pretty much controlling all of the position and clearing up, like they're pushing Felix away from the hill. The Rect is getting pushed by 277s from both up and lower side, and this pretty much ends the game for German Potatoes. They're on 1400 HP, 3 guys remaining, but all the guns in the game are for Invil, all the positions are there. It's just a matter of time. Do they want to throw a tank or 2 and how they want to finish it?
Yeah, good stuff there from Invil. Now Felix is here, not for long though. Oh, Sokar does not connect his shell. Might fancy a little bit of Felix here in a second by jumping over. We'll have to see about that one. Save me God. He's not coming, save me God. I don't think he's in office hours right now. Maybe you can pray to another God though. Maybe he'll come save you, because Invil does not want to show mercy. He does pick up Never, so it's not going to be a 7-0. It's going to be a 6-0. Getsai now picks him up like to finish off Felix, and that's going to be Invil moving their way to the upper brackets to fight against Tropical in that upper bracket finals over there, while we will have our losers playing against each other in the lower bracket, Mojo.
I wouldn't say this was like a bad game for German Potatoes, but Invil just played it way better. That's about that. Like, the read of situation, the read of the map, and every team movement was just like step ahead, and they did it superb. So, to be honest, if I had to do prognosis for today for past 3 matches, I would flunk each and every one of them on result.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. I mean, I would maybe guess here that Invil would win.
I think but
by result, never.
Well.
I would
but
actually, I would expect here like a way closer game as example.
Way things could have been different after that Mines Mojo. You know, it's a whole different world going 1-1 to going 2-0. So much different.
Best of 5s, 3-0. Jesus, we still need to see guys like, oh my god, and Never actually did like 3.4k damage. He was in that pocket position, guys, if you remember, on the edge of the map. Like, I don't know, really good movements by Invil, taking damage when they need to, doing a moderate spot on a start, pushing the slower tanks up, expecting the rotation from Potatoes whenever it came, behind them, around the map, doing everything one step ahead. Like, smart plays all over.
Yeah, retaking the hill, then realizing that Koma left, which means that if Koma left, that means he has been going to some other place. And then Panzer Fury deciding, well, or being told to, get back, pulls back smartly, even crosses the middle. And then this one to push here. If Toxic survives, maybe they can kill Never. But then Fabian Jakifa, I always call him Fabian, goes on reload. And then Piotrix realizes there's nothing he can do. I'm just going to go kill him after. Like,
I was kind of thinking they're going to gather forces, pressure a bit on CS so he cannot shoot them in the side, and pressure those 2 heavies below the hill. Because the guys from up the hill and CS, from A5 would have limited shots then, and TVP would have no shots. So I was actually expecting them to take that gamble, but they opted that they might actually, push the TVP, dig out Never, which they almost did. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, they almost got Never, but it was only 1 tank though, Mojo. The time was already running low at that point.
As I said, like, I expected this because that would be more time optimum and kind of position-wise, but that's reasoning from someone who is watching entire map on a mini-map, like, they still have to make their judgment calls based on what they know and see while they're playing. It's kind of hard.
Mm-hmm. It is indeed hard. We have all the information and they do not. They have to work with what they can see. So it's a lot easier for us to judge and think about what they could have done, what they should have done. But there's 2 people that love talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda as well, Mojo. It's Kihan and Svitman.
You are muted.
What I wanted to say was welcome back to the analyst desk. I said it to myself, now I'm saying it also to you guys. Thanks for that one. And yeah, we are left with, I guess, finally someone where you can say, well, I said so. I said Invil would win before the start of this match, but I wasn't really sure because of what had happened in the group stage, right? I think German Potatoes stomped Invil there completely, 3-0, and I guess now we see what a difference it makes when teams like Invil actually do prepare for matches. They do get the 3-0 back in return. They stay in the upper bracket. They knock German Potatoes just down there into that match 4, because Fame was higher seeded after the group stage, and this means our last match for today is going to be German Potatoes against the French team of LTP. Now, we're going to have a bit longer analyst segment now, simply to give those two teams time to do the pick and ban phase for the maps, which ones they want to play, and also to maybe reconsider their tactics, because whoever loses in that match 4 is going to be out of the tournament, right? It's the lower bracket, no second chances here.
Exactly. LTP's actually on their last chance already, because they were third in the group stage, so not even a second chance for them. But yeah, we saw the match. Invil basically had the upper hand in almost every match. There was also always some small mistakes where German Potatoes didn't really do the tactics correctly. Even if the tactics could have worked on mines, both of the, especially the attack, was very interesting and could have worked, but there was small mistake here, small mistake there, and Invil, just with their experience of being in the competitive scene for a long time, were able to pull it off. For example, the CSs from German Potatoes being half HP from the push, and Toxic playing there with Azum basically flawlessly from this point. But it was little late, because half HP is not full HP, and they just lost against the 113s.
Yeah, also,
even if it was very close.
Also, that repush that we see right now on the minimap in like the F5 area, it's just almost always doomed to fail. We saw one repush after that work, but that was basically because the guys driving onto the hill there just had both sides of the entrance of the hill secured. Now, this is after the first game where German Potatoes didn't really look good. This is the second one, and you love to see it. People actually thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to surprise the enemy? And out comes the Foch B coupled with the K91 to just do a safe cap behind the Foch wreck. Obviously, the Foch was never meant to survive here, so I would love to call it out, but it wasn't a misplay by Toxic. It was the tactic, and Koma, yeah, with a low silhouette K91 able to cap here. Now, this is where it started to get interesting, right? But Invil, they had just so many forces, and both sides of the hill entrance where they could just overpush the people that were still left on the hill from German Potatoes. And I think there was one thing for German Potatoes which could have been improved, and that was basically, I think it was You Got Wrecked By Me with a CS on the lower side of the hill. He could have actually blocked the T100, and maybe we would have seen a 1-1 scoreline then instead of the 2-0 which we see now for Invil. And to be honest,
Exactly.
that cliff game there by Invil, it was just beautifully done. Rotations were on time, on point, just a treat to watch.
Yeah, on this cliff, Invil just knew what to do. Like, every single rotation they did was methodical. They just had the information, and even if it looked like German Potatoes have like rotated for free on the 1-2 and killed the 277 and the TVP, the 277 and the TVP just left before German Potatoes got there, because Invil managed to read the German Potatoes play before it happened, and were ready for it, and they just pushed into nothing and wasted valuable time, and their push in the end was just not executed as good as it could have been, but even then it probably wouldn't have succeeded, because Invil was just so ready for that.
I mean, yeah, from the perspective of the Germans, if your opponent has double 277 on the top of the hill of cliff, your options are sort of limited. What are you supposed to do? Push middle? Probably not the best of things, so you have to push donut 1-2 line, but obviously the defending team can and will, and they did anticipate it. So a good job there overall by Invil, clean scoreline, and yeah, yeah, we're gonna look forward to seeing them tomorrow. We are, however, gonna see German Potatoes in the upcoming match against LTP. Now, I'm not quite sure what to expect from that one, as we do see the lineups here. Both of those teams have lost. GP has lost a match now. LTP coming from the lower bracket with the victory over Raid. They're probably coming in with a bit, fresher spirits here than GP, who just took that devastating 3-0 loss by Invil.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, because both of the teams are very evenly matched, just because Invil was way harder opponent than Raid, according to the group stage results. So it should be very interesting to see. The very aggressive play of LTP that we saw the previous games versus very good approach, but with a lot of mistakes from German Potatoes. But if LTP plays super fast, they don't give German Potatoes time to actually do the mistakes. So it might be a win for them.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, because from GP we saw some unusual, maybe ingenious stuff. From LTP, however, we saw aggression at weird timings, at weird places, in weird spots. So both of those teams are not playing completely like standard control. Some would say tactical waiting. Other ill-meaning people would say campy. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what will happen if those two very unusual playstyles are gonna crash, and we are fortunate enough that it's gonna be our next matchup here. It's gonna be our last one for today also, so let me take this opportunity to remind everyone once more of the drops that you can earn right now. For today it's gonna be 3 large kits / consumables, plus the spiderweb decal, which is sellable, and tomorrow to that is gonna get added the 1 day of premium, I think starting tomorrow 6 PM, so just in time for the stream tomorrow. Other than that, what are your thoughts about the upcoming match?
I just peeked into the results from the group stage, and German Potatoes were able to win 3-0 against LTP.
Ooh,
and
they managed to win 3-0 against Invil as well, so
And they, interestingly, they played Ghost Town and Himmelsdorf. So we are going to see Himmelsdorf. They played before, but Mainz, they didn't meet each other yet on Mainz. And the question is German Potatoes going to pick up the second ace from their sleeves for some strange tactics, or they are going to play the standard?
I think on the contrary, possibly. LTP maybe picked Mainz because they just saw German Potatoes play some unusual strats on Mainz, so now probably LTP thinks, let's pick it because they're not going to have tactics anymore. But we're going to have to see. It's going to be a fun one. Yeah, other than that, one more reminder also about the Gleam link that we have at the moment. Should be spammed in chat in about 10 minutes when this is going to be aired. It's the 100 tank giveaway, so don't miss out on that chance. And yeah, I think we are soon, or rather soon, the players are going to be ready since the pick and ban has been done already. So I think we should be mostly ready to hand over to our casters if there are not any last words from you, because I know last time I cut you off on the 5As.
Yeah, there are some questions in the chat about the tanks being picked, especially for the Prokhorovka, since we talked about the Steps games where they used 113s and 277s and not 5As. And then there is a Prokhorovka when suddenly there is a lot of 5As. So the main difference for 5A is that it has 7 degrees of gun depression to the front, which neither 277 or 113 or IS-7 has. While Superconk does have 10 degrees, but Superconk is very slow. So they basically took it, well, I'll just take the lower HP than the IS-7 or the 113 for the extra gun depression and for the extra DPM. And both teams use the 5As basically for the exact role. Like they use the speed to get positions, even from the Fame team, even from the Tropical Cyclone team, and then use the DPM, where neither Superconk or 277s or 113s would work. So there is very niche use between the speed of a 277 or the brute force of the 113 or the cooldown of Super Kong, where the 5A is the exact tank to pick. So it was very well done by the FCs of both of the teams.
I can see how glad you are that you finally get to say this. But yeah, that all being said, I think Prokhorovka was not one of the maps picked. It was now Cliff, Himmels, and Steps as tiebreaker, right?
I can quickly check it because I don't remember it either.
Yeah, the goldfish brain really kicking in.
Exactly. So it's Mainz, Himmelsdorf, and Steps.
Mainz, Himmelsdorf, and Steps. And I think the second to last ban actually came from German potatoes. So this means basically by banning the other map, or is there a separate pick and ban being done for the tiebreaker map? Don't think it is.
Yeah, we are going to see after we see how the games goes, because we might not even get a tiebreaker. But yeah, we are going to see Mainz again right now. There is, of course, some pressure on the German potatoes because they already used two of their strats on stream just before, so there is not that much time to actually prepare something new, while LTP had a lot of time to prepare. And we are going to see how what approach is going to work for them, if it's fast games or if it's very methodical and slow.
Whatever it is, we're gonna find out soon, because I just hear that our lovely casters are ready to take you through the next and what will be last match of the day.
Thank you very much, Kihan and Svitman. Now, Kihan, it's completely normal that your memory starts fading as you get older. Hitting the gracious age of 50 is a hard thing for all of us. But Mojo is a great guy. He has one of those little notebooks, right? And he always has everything written down there. Maybe that's something we could give to Kihan for his anniversary, right? What do you think, Mojo?
Hey, I at least know that I have like that goldfish memory, no? From what we can see on the next matchup, I actually need to say I agree with Sweetman. I would give like a slight advantage to the guys. Oh la la. Sorry about that, guys. That was a bit mute for a ducky. But anyways,
I was literally
I would agree with Sweetman in this regard that the teams that we will face now will play a bit different. I mean, as I said already, the guys in LTP kind of played all the time on 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and if it passes, it passes. You know, they're just like pushing and fighting all the time. On the other hand, Potatoes are more strategic team, and I think they still have more to show us. Yeah, they lost like really bad to Inville, 3-0 by result. If that didn't strike them hard, like personally, they can actually, I think, by quality win this match.
Yeah, we'll have to see though, Mojo. We also thought maybe Raid could win on quality, and nothing less was true in this regard. But yeah, I do expect a whole different game plan here from Potatoes actually than they had against Inville. Maybe they were trying to surprise Inville. Against LTP, I guess you go back to what you know and what you like to do, like aggressiveness, right?
Well, LTP banned the same maps as they banned in a previous match, Ghost Town and Cliff. So they're avoiding them. On the other hand, Potatoes also banned Prokhorovka. So the only map that is in equation there now is pretty much this Himmelsdorf that was mentioned. That was... so I guess like LTP has some kind of plan on Mainz that they want to play against Potatoes, and Potatoes has some plan on Himmelsdorf against LTP. Because they saw each other how they played, more or less. And unless there are some big changes, I really don't expect some gimmicks this time from Potatoes. I think they're going to go for more straightforward fighting style.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you play a team which you consider stronger, perhaps, as Potatoes probably would consider Inville stronger, you try and surprise them, right? You try and throw them off, throw something they don't expect, maybe make them make a mistake because they're unaware of what is happening. But against LTP, I do think you just stick to the basics. Whether that is more control play or more aggressive play, we'll have to see. But I don't think we'll have to expect any more Fosh Bs, at least.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, we're going to see Mainz first. That's going to be LTP's pick, and they will be on attacking side. So far, we haven't seen them play this map. so we will see what they have in store for us. From German Potatoes, we saw very confused game while they were defending first, and then when they were attacking against Invil, they tried a gimmick with a cap. It kind of came close, but it didn't work out. Like we'll see, they're defending now with a far more standard setup. No CSs for German Potatoes.
STRV though for LTP Mojo. On the attacking side of mines.
Talking about gimmicks, right?
Yeah. What does the STRV do?
Man, he can just like sit and cover from somewhere, but they actually pulled him up to the center.
It's an interesting pick. I mean,
weird ways.
Do you use him as a shield as well? I mean, he's going around the hill now. Do you shield the STRV? Does the STRV shield, or you shield the STRV with something?
I guess he uses STRV as a shield. It makes no sense to put him behind anything because he cannot rotate. I'm not sure they're going to even use him like that. Because it's very specific. Like the tank that was used in a previous game, if you remember, by Potatoes is K91. It's a very low profile tank. And you don't want to sacrifice, as example, a tank like 113 to protect an STRV who is behind, who cannot shoot or turn or do anything. But you can try to do something with STRV, like shooting the guys below the hill or in a base. That you can. But does it pay off?
I don't know, Mojo. Honestly, STRV is a really weird pick, to be honest. Like, it's not something that we see often. Mojo, I got a question. The even 90 in the even 90 is able. You know, I'll even bust out my crayons. Yeah, I ate the rest of them, but these ones I'll bust out. So with the even 90, you can sit here and cap and spot it. Like somewhere, there's a lot of bushes here, and you can even cap behind the building here. Now, is the STRV able to do the same thing? Because he's sitting like, slightly more down. He's sitting here, but he's not sitting next to the building, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
And basically, teams, even if they pushed up to here, could not spot the even 90 because of the camo. And now STRV also has ridiculous camo, right? Like, it's absolutely nutty. And you can see now that he is sitting in a bush.
It's a really kind of a rare spot for any team to use. So there is a chance they will really not be... Yeah, there is a chance they will not be able to see him. But he is prone to blind fire there. For sure.
Because the tree is knocked over.
Especially, and I'm going to say one more thing. You remember with the last patch, there was a thing like you got kind of a commander vision and then
so
the tactical. So you can zoom out more upwards with a tactical view. And with that, they might actually guess where he is. And he can certainly not shoot.
So far, it doesn't seem like they're aware, though.
He actually fired.
He fired, didn't even get spotted. Is he going to do it again?
What kind of voodoo is that? Yes, he did it again.
Nice shot on towards Fabian, and now Potatoes are fully repushing the middle here, but unlike them, I mean, all the tanks are here for LTP. There's literally almost nobody allowed to fight it. I don't like the position.
No way! This is so wrong!
But now the cap is on. There's only an S-Con coming back to reset it. If the 113, I'm not sure who it is. I think it's unstable. If he rams, they will not reset, Mojo. I mean, there's 30 seconds though, so maybe the hill could reset, but they are now driving into the crossfire. Joy's position was not it. That wasn't it at all. But now, they have only 2 tanks that are pushing on the hill, while LTP still has plenty of tanks here available for them. They are trying to push the 113 of LTP in the meantime. But this is great for LTP. 3k HP lead. They don't even cap anymore. They're killing Koma. Luca's now coming behind the STRV, but LTP, as you can see, they were in the place to be, and they're going to take up this mines win as well with the STRV. And Potatoes there, Mojo, overreaction, because you were very right about Commander View and seeing a knocked over 3.
This is like really weird game to say. Like, I mean, you really rhymed it well. LTP, they're in a place to be, man. Like, they actually did everything correct here, and German Potatoes just did a very, very, very harsh reaction. And they actually lost by a similar tactic to what they planned themselves. But getting shot by STRV and still proceeding to go and push the hill. That's so weird, man. They played like they're super triggered.
I think I don't know, Mojo. I honestly don't know. This was an overreaction and a half. It would take 2.5 seconds of zooming out to see that the tree is knocked over, and you could have at least tried to blind fire it, right? At least once.
Like, they didn't want to sacrifice the tank to go below the hill. They were scared that the tank will be lost in the same fashion they lost the Super Kong. I mean, when they killed the Invil Super Kong. So they were trying to avoid that scenario. They were not using the T100 until the very late part of the game at all. Although he was already on the island and he could have maybe done something. Still weird, man. I don't know what to say about this place.
Joy's position was, like, when you're playing like this, Joy's position was really bad, honestly. Like, LTP did very well, but Joy's position, you cannot play with a tank on the rock when you are doing this. Yeah, because the rock guy can just get crossfired from two sides. It's really, like, and you can see he only had 782 damage because the position is just bad.
Yeah, but still, like, they had so many other guys. Like, pretty much out of the 7 guys from LTP, 5 were on the hill. So no matter how you push with the guys from the German potatoes, you cannot really win that because you're already sending one guy Super Conk on the STRV and 113 who was behind, and T100 is also out of the fight. So it's 5-on-5, and the guys are greeting you from the better positions. It just can't work out.
We already saw what happened to hill repushes. The only one that pulled it off was Invil, and that was mainly because potatoes didn't have enough tanks on the hill.
Yeah, they dropped off with Super Conk and they didn't have a spot on time. There was like a gap in their spotting.
Their most crucial tank was not on the hill.
So they actually were in disadvantage by types of the tanks and their positions then. So that worked out for Invil perfectly, like a glove, like a charm. But I don't know, it's really kind of awkward to see a team fall for a tactics that is more or less a copy-paste from their own.
Yeah, I mean...
It's not a copy-paste, of course, because these guys didn't sacrifice anything, but similar in fashion.
It's just a little weird to not even try to blind fire Aking. And even now...
Aking shooting and not getting spotted, that's insane.
Think about it, right? Aking fires twice. Toxic and Jakafa know exactly where he is. They can stop the hill repush still. You get you know what I mean?
Yes.
They can still stop. Like if Jakafa and Toxic here just blind fire that bush, which they both got blind from, they can still kill Joy for free at the rock with the rest of their tanks and use the T100 from behind. But they're so
literally, it looks like they're so triggered, they're just going for the next game or something, or whatever happens in this one.
I don't know.
This is like too much commitment.
That's why the SRV firing, like we were like, oh my god, he's actually firing. It's actually like, yeah, sure, he did 2 shots of damage, but it could mean that he instantly gets blind fire back. Instantly. Because obviously you have your reticle, you have the black, I mean, depending on your reticle settings, you should always have this reticle setting anyways. You have like the little black stripe on the top where you can pinpoint almost the exact position from the tank that is shooting you. And players at this caliber know how to use this and should know how to use this. So I guess it comes to show a little bit of an experience, Mojo, as well, to be honest.
I don't know, as I said, like they played really confident and nice in that quali and group stage. So there is nothing to desire from them more in that part of the tournament. But now when they're like on big camera, in a final part, they're kind of falling all over the place. So we will see, like, frankly, the next game will decide more or less their destiny in this tournament. Like, they need to take this one round of mines. They will be attacking, and I hope they have some better plan than what they had the last time, because if they start losing 2-0 to LTP here, they will have to win both rounds on Himmelsdorf. I'm not sure they can do it with this mindset, not the skill set, the mindset.
Being against Matchpoint is always hard. It's always so hard. We only see the very best teams actually overcome Matchpoints. Coming to mind is Invil in the last 15v15 tournament when they played against GX 15 Chieftains coming back from Matchpoint, and Fame in the last WoT7 coming back from Matchpoint against Invil as well. But it takes a lot from a team to be able to do that.
You gotta be a Novak Djokovic to do it, man. That's how it goes. Anyways, Mines coming in a second round. LTP will be doing the defense side this time, and Potatoes will be attacking. From the last really surprising game, I just hope that these guys can actually cool off and play something that is their own plan.
All right.
Like they kind of looked pressured at the moment.
LTP, IS7 for Eskong to T100, and then Potatoes, 11115, 277, Eskong can double CS Mojo.
Yeah, you can see that LTP will definitely not challenge the hill with this. They're gonna put people on the island over the water and have snipers in the base. So they're opting for the most default of default defenses on mines. On the other hand, like German Potatoes, they do have a lot of fast tanks and one super conch that can play the hill and can be used as an anchor.
So we can see the I7 crossing here towards 1-2 line. This is a very similar defense to what we saw Fame play, actually. The only difference I can see is Lexa's position, because Fame had double S-Conk under the hill, and only two in the base.
Rekt took like a lot of damage actually by the guys from the island. But still, it doesn't matter that much, but every chip of health stacks up. So, okay, German Potatoes have the hill, they have Koma on the island. What now? That's the question for them. Like, Jakefa is there in Super Conch in a standard hold-down position. Now they need to think how to break this. There is, with this lineup that they have, usually pretty much only two ways to do it. You need to fake a rotation and push toward the one line, or fake a rotation or pressure toward the one cap and below the hill.
We sometimes see the 1-2 push though, as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you fake one side and then you push like 1-2, one line, or you fake and you push from the other cap, and that's it. T100 is in that cheeky bush, if you remember it. There is a bush here right on the edge, and that guy can spot entire rotation here if someone is coming. So no faking whatsoever will work out against that position, because they will see those heavy tanks, I don't know, when they're already somewhere here. They will know that they're rotating. Let us see, will the CS will be spotted now, because if he does get spotted, there should be a big hint actually for Potatoes where the light is.
I think the CS has too much camo though to be spotted there by the T100, just about. There's still a medium, right? So it's not that easy. We saw in the meantime also a double rotation, the double 113, Save Me, and Felix moving to C9. But what do you want to do with it? It's too split for an attack. It's too split. It's not like when it's 2-7-7 and 1-2 and a CS and 1-2.
They literally cannot break anything with this. Because there is a conch. Yeah, there is conch covering the I7, and there is double conchs covering the one cap. And the conch below the hill.
113 on the cap, 113 in the building further is what I'm guessing right now. It's the no, they're just going past. Felix, they're taking a lot of damage already, 1.3. RL now doing the smart decision of running back. That is a good rotation. It's like, it seems like a small thing, but it isn't. He managed to now put himself in a position where he is able to be hold down and be safe. No longer though, as Jakefa has now made another counter rotation. Azum made a big peek from the hill coming out as well, and now RL, his position was improved, but that was the double, it was the S-Kung there on the 4 line coming in, making crossfire. In the meantime, Mojo, the split attack has actually sprung some damage, as now Aking is going to be the next one in trouble there, but there's still Tankistador and the T100 who takes a lot of damage. RL goes down, and Potatoes here with the all-out attack all over the place seem to be bringing LTP to their knees right now, but it's not over just yet. Azum here trying to get a shot that gun the pressure, but finally gets to sneak it in. Tankistador, they're in trouble against that 277 from Koma, who is Amorak, though. Gotta keep that into account. Now Felix might be a one-shot here for the S-Kung, 400 alpha. It's a little bit of a 50-50. Now Save Me God trading against Unstable. LTP is up a lot of HP here. Save Me God needs to be really careful, because if he dies here, then Felix dies all to pieces yet again. Glowum now joining, another nice shot there. 113 against S-Kung. It's not really a fight you like to take, and he does not connect. That upper hull can be quite bouncy down towards a one shot, and now Unstable coming in and picking it up as well. In the meantime, they're going to be repushing back out. Felix is now down towards a one shot, and Unstable is going to be picking it up. That's the double 113 wiped away, and what seemed to be a little bit of issues for LTP has now stabilized into more of a cruise control.
Well, you could see from the very start of the push that, yeah, they're doing the damage, and they did take the super conch, but they were taking so much damage. They were bleeding so much over the place, because once you crush the frontline tanks, you have those super conchs who are all over the place, just set up to do crossfire cover for their teammates. And you can still see I7 on H2 still alive, and even T100 survived that kind of fight. Super conks all over the place, just doing the damage, and there is nothing that potatoes can do against that. That's the big problem, because they were bleeding. For every shell they give, they usually received about 2. Yeah, they progressed in positions, but they couldn't even scratch that second layer of defense.
They stuck too much to the original plan, Mojo. Again, I think because think about this, right? So you had double 113 and G8, yeah? In G8, behind the houses still. You know what I mean? They were still behind the houses. Now, RL died no matter what these 113s did because of Jacquefa pressuring up to F4, right?
Yep.
So that's always a good trade, I guess, at that point in time. And you can kind of cover him. Well, no, you can cover him from the hill, right? You can cover him from the hill. I mean, they're cleaning up anyways. So you can cover him from the hill because the only place that Jacquefa really gets countered from is F1, right? But if you have a 277 there, the guy can't really play there in combination with the hill, right? What stops you then from restarting the camp and not pushing up with these 113s? Because they both died for free.
Well, I guess the 113s would be shot a bit while they're going back, but that's it. They will receive like 1 or 2 shots of damage. And then there will be a reaction needed from LTP.
It would be harder for
counter-push.
LTP, I think, because they would have to drive down with S-Kongs and stuff from the 8 line. And the I7 and T100 would not really be like a full thing in this because they would have to rotate as well. So
I would, if I was in Potato's shoes now, I would be triggered because this is the 5th round they're losing in a row. That's not a good place to be in.
They could make it 6, Mojo.
Well, let's not go there. There is a chance for a tiebreaker or for a complete turnaround on Himmelsorf that will be following. But Mines, they lost decisively 2-0, and there is nothing more to say about that. Instable did so much damage there. Jacquefa did a lot with his super conk from the mid, and so did Toxic. Toxic ended up on like 500 HP in one moment in that water, and he was the last man surviving, even with that. But that's just not enough. It's required as a team move, not just as a solo play.
Indeed, true. And yeah, like the bottom 3 damage dealers there for Potatoes. Save Me is one of those 2 113s we talked about. The other was Felix, and Koma was the guy pushing 1-2. Forcing RL back, I liked it. It was a good move. Everything that came after, I don't know. I'm not sure about. I mean, 2 tanks killing an I7 and a T100. Yeah, like, I get that it's 2 combat tanks, but still, it's an I7. It's very healthy. And there was still the S-Konk on K4, which you can't underestimate, because, like, it seems that it was just Conquistador and his buddy, I don't remember who the I7 was, it's not relevant, but there was Lexa behind in K4 and the S-Konk. So how do you win a 2v2, which is not really a 2v2?
No, like as I said, like the second layer of defense from LTP was never challenged. Those super conk were always raining like damage on the guys from Potatoes, and there was no one who could do anything to them. Like 113s tried to approach them, but they were just greeted with shells from the cooldown positions on the corner of the conks, and that's it. That's just it. They were stuck all over the place, and at the end of the day, like this is the moment you said, like they might stop. This is probably the last moment they had a chance to stop.
Yeah, look at Oral now. Like I thought he was making a good rotation to go behind that cooldown, but then Jacquefa and his S-Konk pushes up, right? He's on the 4 line. Yeah? And here it has to stop. This is where it has to stop. This, I mean, they're down on HP, but if they stop here, if they actually halt their assault at this point, there's nobody under the hill to reset anymore, which is really important. Like, really, really important.
I think it was just a bit of timing, because they already sent people in one line to push. You can see Toxic there, and I think it was Koma. Who was there?
Toxic and Koma, yes.
Yeah.
277
so they were already there, and it was too late for them to do anything else. And Koma died really fast after that, and Toxic was left on that rock on K2 alone, but he was like on 400 or 500 HP, and he was pretty much left by Potatoes. They didn't want to push him because of the super conk in the mid. But they also had no potential to pressure the cap with 1-on-3s because 1-on-3s were already heavily damaged by the super conks. So it's all about like little timings, and we can rewind it and put entire game up to the pieces. But all in all, LTP just played a very standard, sturdy defense. Potatoes tried something. They had a good opening and good start, but at the end of the day, they just crashed on their defense, and that's it. They might have rotated back. They might have started the cap. Would it change anything? We would never know.
Sure,
Like even like that, they could have lost equally like this.
True. It's hindsight 2020. It's always easy to be.
Push on the hill from the defense side, and from attacking side when they suicided on around the E3 and the upper cap. We never saw Potatoes though yet played today, so we will see what will happen there. Maybe they have some plan to snatch 2 rounds and try to bring this game to steps, which would be a tiebreaker. But do they have the spirit? We will see pretty much in the first round when it comes.
We'll have to see, Mojo. Lineup-wise, we have an IS-4, an IS-7, a 277, a double 113, and a double 50B for LTP. And Potatoes has 5 IS-4s.
LTP are defending, but they're pushing again. Now this time they're not pushing the hill. They are actually pressuring from the lower side of the map, pushing a bunch of guys over the open green yard, and IS-4 going for that 8 line, 277 and IS-7 going from the 2 line. This 50B is going so aggressive, man. Aurel is already more or less inside of the Potatoes team.
This is good for Potatoes here because IS-4 is really good at side scraping, and Azum and You Got Wrecked by Me are going to do exactly that here, as now they're even going to start re-pushing on towards these tanks. Save Me God shells he has available, only 2 left from his position there. And IS-4 can be kind of bouncy actually, and Potatoes here coming out with a strong re-push. Let's be honest, Aurel and Unstable, they need their friends, but their friends are currently not in position to really help them. Now the focus was onto Jakafa. Now Felix is going to be the next one. They are doing well though, they are connecting their shells, but where are the rest of the tanks for LTP? The HP is even, but they need to get into the fight here because they're going to lose their double 50B. Aurel still on reload there, and that HP is going to dwindle, it's going to drop, it's going to go down so fast, it's going to literally disappear. Save Me God in the meantime is rushing down the hill, trying to get towards his team. Glauom wants to finish Jakafa there in his 50B. He does that. Aurel now finally reloads. If he can get some shells in, it would be really important. He does get one. It all depends now. Does Azum get the roll here? No, it's going to be Toxic from behind. And 4v4 tanks here. Aking, Glauom, fighting against You Got Wrecked by Me, and now Joy trying to pull back into the courtyard. A miss comes out though, but Mojo, it's still anybody's game, but Potatoes seem to be falling here a little bit.
Yeah, they still have those IS-4s because they have some better DPM than IS-7s, but it's 3-on-3 scenario, and Save Me God has 3 shells only. That's actually a big problem. If they make them work now, if they cannot share HP between each other, like Joy, if Aking falls, that can be a big problem. Big problem for LTP. And it actually happens exactly like that. They threw 1 tank for pretty much nothing. Now Save Me God needs to run away as far and fast he can. Don't get rammed, mate. That's like the worst possible scenario. You can actually throw the game like that.
I mean, it's still possible here though for German Potatoes. If Joy gets to survive here, he is not a one-shot, but Joy needs to connect his shell though. He has to connect this one. If not, it's not possible. Can Joy connect the shell? No, he doesn't. That is super crucial here because now Toxic is definitely not going to die against Conquistador. I mean, he will actually probably die, but it is a 2v1. Ooh, there's a bounce there. There's another bounce there. This is not what you like to see from these players, and now Conquistador has it all to do, has it all to win here. 2v1, the game of his life. Okay, there's the connection from Toxic. Azum now needs to connect his. He does, but Conquistador still has a chance here to win this. He needs to pick up Toxic. Can he get the connection? Now, can he get it? No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. Good shielding. No, Tankistador! He nails it! Can he block with the gun as well while he's at it? Can he outplay Azum here? Azum is trying to desperately find the connection. Tankistador! Tankistador! No, doesn't connect his now. Now Azum is coming back out. Azum doesn't connect his either. They're hitting the guns left, right, and center. Can Tankistador get a connection here? He does get a connection onto Azum. Azum now down towards a one-shot. Can Tankistador pick it up? Can he do it? I don't know, Mojo.
If you ever watched the game like this, you would never, ever, ever, on the start of this day, expect a brawl of Ice Force or to be like a cherry on the top at the end. This is not something you usually see. Tankistador is pretty much the god of Ice Force at the moment. And sorry, potatoes, but you threw it so hard now. Jesus, you had it all lined up. It was a good counter-attack. You knew where they were. That butt shot getting rammed, that pretty much nailed the coffin, but the shell's not penned. Just no comment. Ice Force, the godly tanks, the bouncers. I don't know what to say anymore, man. Like 3-0 again.
I mean, how does I don't know how Save Me God gets rammed there, Mojo. Like, honestly, I don't know. I don't get it.
Anything but that, man. That was the only way to die.
Pen ratios. Let's see them. Fabian, no, it's not good enough. I'm sorry. 3-3-2, 5-4-2, not good enough. 5-4-3 is fine. 6-5-4, fine, actually. Save Me God, 8-7-7, fine.
Team damage 15, not fine.
14,
team damage not fine.
Wait, how much team damage?
400 and something.
Oof. Now, Toxic, let's see, 16, 16, 4. Toxic fired actually really well. Except
5k damage, man.
Yeah. 4-3-1, not good enough. Good. I mean, yeah. 7-6-5 is fine. 7-5-5 still fine. Troy, 7-6-6, fine. Hacking 8-7-7. I mean, you can definitely see that LTP's pen ratios are better than Mojo.
Look at the god of Ice for Tankista, man. Seriously.
Gotta say though, like, the pen ratios, if you compare them, LTP has better, Mojo. It's by a little, but it's better. And especially Fabian there in a Jakafai in the 50B doing 2 shots of damage is not good enough, because in this kind of game, he is not being pushed, you know? He picks his engagement, you know what I mean? Like, he picks where he peaks and who he shoots. So...
But still, man, that guy was alone and he won it. To be honest, he won it only because they didn't ban their shells, but he still won it. This is not something you see often. And they played all equal tanks. It's not like you can say, oh, this guy had a clipper, or this guy. No, there was all Ice Force.
This is the repush here coming out.
And it's good, and it's legit, and everything should be done here already.
I think Save Me God should already be reloading and going down, by the way, at this point. I don't think it's worth to hold 2 shots there.
Yeah, he tried to get a different angle, and that was a mistake, for sure. But even with that, that's not what lost him the game. It's the later part. Also, like, they let Felix die here way too easy, because he took all the shells.
Felix also kind of just drove forward, though. It's kind of hard to shield somebody that's face-hugging every time that he meets.
And this should be their game. Right here and there. But yeah. Fabian, in his 50B, he has nowhere to run here now.
Yeah, he does.
He cannot get a reload. That's a very important kill.
Run. He can run. He can honestly run. And you know where he should run in this scenario? H3-4. It has to get pushed inside. Like...
But wasn't there an enemy already there?
No. He was coming from the 3 line. But the point is, so why H3-4, right? Inside that cubby? Because if... I think it's a 277 from Aking coming from behind, right? So let's say Aking pushes him inside that cubby. Fabian Trakov had like 800 HP, right? If he does, you just block the gap, Mojo.
Oh my god, this is where he shot his teammate.
Oh.
Save Me God, just like the last shell, he just shot Azum.
He turns around. Why? What is this?
I don't understand. Oh, this was like a really, really, really sad play. Sorry, man, but it was. I guess, like, I don't know, I mean, I've seen people get, like, who have, like, the highest possible stats in a game. When it comes to tournament, they can get super nervous.
Man, if you put me in a nice 4-1v1, I promise you, I promise you, I got you. I'm your man, alright?
You're a tanker.
I'm your man, dude. I used to do a lot of these, dude. I used to do like a ton of these. It's actually kind of funny. There's a few spots that you can actually hit.
Mate, we had a friend in a team in Old Kazna, like who actually managed to miss entire T1 capping solo. The guy who let go of his command on the live tournament on LAN. And he missed entire that little tank who was spotted with single shell he had. So yeah, people get shaky hands in some kind of moments. It happens to everyone. But this was just like, I don't know, couple of big mistakes. Mainly done at the end. And sorry, but you guys in Potatoes deserve to lose this, for sure. Against Inville, yeah, some close games and not everything went your way. The result doesn't reflect it. I don't think that 3-0 there reflects it, but this defeat by LTP is more than deserved.
I just don't understand what...
It just looks like they were more and more triggered from one game to another. That's how it looked a bit.
Inexperience, I guess, Mojo. It's a different part playing a qualifier in groups compared to playoffs, right? I think so, at least. The whole vibe is usually a lot different from, like, even for me, playing group stage and qualifiers is one thing, but then playoffs is a whole different thing.
Well, LTP pretty much survived this day, which is not something we expected, but they deserved it. They beat Raid, and then they beat German Potatoes, who played really well in qualifiers and group stage, and proved that they are able to stand yet another game, at least. But I think this was the last game for us today, and I believe our analysts are waiting to tell you something more about these games.
Well, hello, back. This time I'm not muted, but I am a little speechless at what we just saw. Yeah, to recap, we just watched the lower bracket match in between LTP and the German Potatoes, and after this one, I think you have to say their name is their profession.
Yeah, like it basically ended up, as I said, LTP just gave them enough time to make mistakes, and this is exactly how every single battle went. Even on mines where they were capping with STRV, even on mines where they were attacking, and even on Himmels where the fight was fairly long and substantial with the Ice Force, they let them have enough time to make mistakes and then won because of this.
Yeah, it was just, and also not only were the calls sometimes questionable, it also was like the individual shooting, especially in the last game, that was horrendous, horrible. But yeah, we are looking at the tournament bracket. We just watched today matches 1 through 4. In the last one, we just saw LTP taking the dub over GP. And I think in match 5 it should actually say LTP fighting against Fame for the first match. Tomorrow we'll correct that, of course. Then match 6, the upper bracket final. It's gonna be TCS Tropical Clown School against the guys from Inville. The loser of that is gonna play against the winner of LTP versus Fame. And then, obviously, we still have the grand final, which consists of upper bracket and lower bracket final winners.
Exactly. The Tropical Clown School against Inville is going to be very interesting match, just because of the strategies they bring to the table. Inville playing basically the standard, but playing it very well. You saw Tropical Clown School bringing the E50M, bringing the quadruple 5A, and the 277s on the Prokhorovka. So it's going to be very different style clashing, and I'm looking forward to that very much.
Same here. Before we talk about that, though, we do have the replays from the last match we just watched available, and yeah, some funky stuff going on here. German Potatoes in the defense, LTP in the offense with an STRV and also with a 200 IQ Bush right there. I'm being told they played that already in group stage, but I guess German Potatoes have not done their homework. They are completely oblivious as to what's happening. They feel pressured into this repush, which honestly, I mean, it's not straight up suicide, but it's gonna cost you so much that you won't be able to win the game anymore.
Yeah, they were capitalizing on the 113 and the STRV being out of fight, and that allowing them to push, but they had T100 as well on the other side of the map, so the push on the hill was even. It was 5v5. But if you are defensive on the hill, especially with 1-1-13 being side-scraping of the rock and or the bottom, the push is basically impossible to pull off.
Yeah, also you see Toxic getting focused out there with the Super Kong, thus the DPM is gone. I mean, Save Me God, he does get to repair his Amarak, but the Kranwagen, also, despite being an autoloader, the DPM from that thing is just brutal when it gets to be used. And yeah, at this point in time, German Potatoes, 2k to 6k HP, a tank down. It was never gonna succeed. Now this was also an interesting round, is German Potatoes on the offense. They do this sort of 8-line push here with a double 113. The Super Conqueror reacts, pulls away from under the hill because he would have died over long or short, because there's simply no one to cover him. However, I think he should have gone behind the house and not, like, he didn't go far enough. Like, he turned around now, he has his front towards the enemies. Instead, he should have kept going behind that house where he's gonna go now. He should have just done that straight away, and it would have been an even easier game. Now, what Ducky said, if German Potatoes now simply had played their positions, I don't think that would have been enough personally. But yeah, the push over the 1-2 line, it's maybe... I mean, it's nicely timed because everyone is focusing on the 113s by GP, but in the end, yeah, no success here. And this is where, I mean, we have a team called, you know, Clown School, but this is more of a Clown Fiesta here. This repush, I agree, it's well timed, it's well done, but as soon as you start shooting, you should also start penning.
Yeah, there were a lot of individual mistakes. For now, Jekefa just getting focused by the 50Bs, by Aurel and Instable. And now he basically shot 3 times, and then he's just sitting around doing nothing and waiting to die. With 50B, you don't want to do that. You want to be the guy that's safe instead of the one guy that's in danger. Then there is the pen ratio of the IS-4 that's way better for the LTP team. So that's the difference that made it, on top of the Save Me God hitting one of the IS-4s in the later clip.
I mean, the difference is just player skill. If overall the pen rates are just better for one team and you narrowly win, then it was just player skill in the end, and also some bad decisions. And yeah, I mean, we talked about it already, and I feel bad shaming the players for this, but at this level, decisions like this shouldn't happen. At this point in time, right now for German Potatoes, everything's fine. They have Crossfire, and they have an autoloader that can clip out on the way where the enemies need to go to reach the singled out tank. However, what happens? One, team damage is being done by the autoloader. Then Toxic does the right thing. Actually, good place by him today, but it wasn't enough to pick up the one-shot. But now, Save Me God, what are you doing, brother? What are you doing? You're not supposed to take shots. You're not a one-shot here. You are supposed to run away, reload, and then exploit the weaknesses of the singled-out enemies using the spots that your heavy tanks are giving you. Also, Tankistador, super nice shot, by the way, onto the roof of the enemy IS-4. And IS-4's duking it out face-to-face in 2021. You love to see it.
Exactly. There is also an argument about Save Me God when he had 2 shells in his bed shed and he overpeaked and got 1k for it. For like potential 2 shells that he had, which one of them ended up being in the allied IS-4. If he were to just disengage and just like instantly reload at that point, that might have been very easy, because then you have Batchet on like 1100 HP that cannot die in 2 shells, and just being able to clip the whole basically the whole IS-4 that was remaining at that point.
Yeah, and other than that, I mean, congrats to LTP coming from, you know, the lower bracket, making their way up, defeating 2 German teams here on the way. Going to meet Fame tomorrow in the first match that we are going to see. I think we're all but done here. A few reminders though. Enter the Gleam link for the giveaway of the premium tanks. Also tomorrow the premium day is going to be enabled for the drops. We're going to start at 6 PM CEST again. And yeah, I'll leave the last few words to you.
Yeah, I think the games were very interesting. The 8 minutes timer was something new for the 770 format, and it made the games very interesting, especially since a lot of teams got caught with their pens down during the defense. And I would like to thank Mojo and Daki for the amazing casting, and for you for being my co-analyst. So thanks everybody for watching, and I hope I'll see you tomorrow during the later stages of the the double elimination bracket we have here.
See you.